Good evening, everyone. I hope we are all well. Steve here on Top Table Live. This is a little bit of a special Top Table Live. I'm going to be reviewing and going through, flicking through the pages, reading up, talking all about the new Fall of the Necromancer book from Middle-earth strategy battle game. As well as that, we can in the chat, if you'd like to, talk about the announcement on the Warhammer community website today. The Sunday preview has shown us the models which are going to be coming back into the range fully. It's not a made to order. They're coming back into the range, and some of them are really exciting. I know there's a lot of people, especially leading up to the release of the Fall of the Necromancer book, were hoping for certain things that were actually teased and announced months and months ago, and then it kind of just disappeared. We all thought they were going to be a made to order, but yeah, they're coming back to range, so that is awesome news. So yeah, welcome everybody. I hope you're all well. I hope you've had a great weekend and a good Sunday. I'm going to get it out of the way early because I know there's going to be a few Liverpool fans in, and I know there's going to be a few Man City fans in, and you're going to want to rib me. I'm dealing with it. I've had a tough Sunday afternoon. Manchester United got an absolute thrashing by Liverpool. But we are not here for that. I hold my hands up. Liverpool were by far the best team on the day and absolutely smashed Man United. I'm a big Man United fan, and yeah, I'm feeling really sorry for myself. So yeah, I got it out of the way just to save all you guys jumping on it. No doubt there'll be comments later on, and it's fine, but I will not dwell on them. This is a stream about Middle-earth strategy battle game, and we'll try and keep on topic as best that we can. So please do, throughout the stream, get any comments, any questions that you've got in the chat, and we will jump in and out of the chat as the stream goes on. I'll be reading through the book. I'll be showing some things on screen. I have to be very careful, even though I've got full disclosure now to review the book and show the book, and I know that there are other videos out there that show the things that are in the book. I just want to be very careful, so I will show you me flicking through the pages and things like that, but I've got a bit of a soft focus on, so yeah, I'll be reading through it anyway. There's a bit of a soft focus so people don't take screenshots and things like that, and then I get into trouble because they're using screenshots from my stream to go on the internet. But bearing that in mind, if there is anything that I don't cover or I don't mention something that you think was in the book, bring it up in the chat, but I'm going to try and go through it and not miss anything out. So there may be rumors out there that there's things in the book that are not in the book. There may be rumors out there that are things not in the book that are in the book. The legendary legions are the most interesting. I've had a quick flick through this book. I've had it for a week or so, but I've been very, very busy. I've not had a chance to digest it all, so it's going to be a lot of fun to do this live with you guys. Yeah, I've heard some of the rumors. I've read some of the rumors. The legendary legions are very interesting, and we'll talk about those as we come to them. So before, I'm not going to jump straight in. We'll let some people join in. There's quite a few of you in already, so thank you for joining me. I'll put my chat screen on live chat rather than top chat. There we go. So yeah, it looks like you're all chatting. Some familiar names in there. If it is your first time on a Top Table stream, please do make yourself known in the chat. Just say hi, let us know who you are, where you're from. That'd be great. It's always, I say it all the time, it's always nice to say hello to new viewers and new people that are coming into Middle-earth strategy battle game. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button, click the subscribe button. You know the drill by now. Every YouTuber on the planet says the same stuff. It is very tedious, but it really does help us. So if you could click the subscribe button, if you haven't already, that would be fantastic. Let's have a little sip of my tea. I need that. I thought I'd avoid the beer with the football score, but there we go. Right, let's have a look who is in the chat and join us. Like I say, if you are watching, please do say hi in the chat. Scott Newman, Sean, Michael Breyer, Hajinder and Reese were in early. Welcome, gents. It's great to have you in. George Galloway, Glenn's in. Hey, Glenn. Gaz is in. How you doing, Gaz? Tom Sherlock. Tim, Andrew Pennington, hey buddy. You'll be seeing some Andrew Pennington stuff possibly on a board soon, which would be really cool. Masterball UK is in. How come I do not know that name, Masterball UK? Have you got a funny YouTube name and I do know who you are? Please let us know, Masterball. It's great to have you. If I don't know you, we've not spoke before. Welcome. Says good evening. Mr. Haskell's in. He says Sunday evening treat for us all should help Steve to take his mind off the events earlier today. Yeah, it's a sickener, Michael. It is a sick. It's going to take me a while to get over it, but I'll get over it. Every dog has his day. Fair play to him. That's what I say. Ashley's in. How you doing, Ashley? Glenn says you taking a legendary Merkwood Ranger Legion now? Question mark. I'm assuming that's to Reese because Reese likes his Merkwood Rangers. I actually have quite a lot of Merkwood Rangers, and I'm definitely going to be giving it a try without a doubt. But we'll talk about that later. Mark Greentree's in. Tom Marshall, Max Mellis. I've done that. Jill's in. How you doing, Jill? 3 Tap Wizards. At least until I get one correct, we'll come to that. Sean's in. Are you a full-time YouTuber or do you have a daytime job as well? Loving the sound of this book so far. And I am not a full-time YouTuber. I wish I was, man. I have my own small business. I do home improvements, like small extensions, mainly like windows, doors, orangeries, conservatories, things like that. A lot of PVC products is my main thing, but I dip my toe in and out of other things. But thank you for asking. Full-time YouTuber, that's the dream, right? Sean says, was naughty earlier and had a little test game with the new Azog Legendary Legion rules, and he rep face finished the game with 5 might still between him and his warg. That's impressive. That is impressive. But were you playing against Ruth's unpainted ents? Maybe that's why. Can't find the Whipfred, said Fred. No Whipfred. No Whipfred on this one. But feel free to post in the Top Table Gaming Community Facebook group anything you're working on. And you can't see Mr. O'Brien. No, he's not here tonight, but I'm sure he'll be in the chat later. I know he was feeling a little bit off colour earlier. So get well soon, Damien. I hope he does join us later. That'll be fun. Dan Maskell's in. How you doing, pal? It's my first live. Watch some of your previous videos, but never live. Well, welcome, Master Ball. Like I said before, you are most welcome. It's great to have you. And thank you for watching some of the other videos. Keep watching. Andrew says, on the way tomorrow morning, sir. Yes, thank you very much. Jill welcomes Master Ball. Evening Steve says, Dan Collister. Dan Collister, how the devil are you, my friend? I was talking to Dan and some of the other B-Sign patrons last night on a Zoom call. I didn't hang around too long because I had to be up early this morning with the kiddies and things like that, and do a lot of shopping today. So I was in for about an hour. And I was actually building the new Dulgaldor terrain, which is quite nice. It's just up there. So I need to get that painted up now. Get another couple of sets. I have pre-ordered 2 more sets because I'm going to make a board out of that with my wetter stuff. I've got the wetter Dulgaldor scenery, so it's almost identical scale. So it's going to be. I'm hoping that it's going to turn out all right. Has anyone seen? I'm sure you all have because it's been all over Facebook. But Lockie's build using all the kits. It just kind of shows you what you can do with it. It's amazing. Fantastic work. I've got loads of little holes in my fingers, tips of my fingers as well, because there's so many little spikes on the kit. Just holding it together when you try to glue it. The amount of times it stabbed me. Tom's in. Tom Spay. Just started listening to the 7-Hour Green Dragon podcast episode on Moria. We'll have to finish that one later. Is it really a 7-hour podcast? Looking at. Master Ball says, my channel's a Pokemon channel, that's why the name. And yes, I've messaged you before. My name is Nathan Did. Asked you about part 3. Ah, right, okay. Ah, right. So we have spoke before. Yes, part 3 will be coming. I keep saying it. It will be in the works. It's just trying to find the time to do it. They take quite a lot of production, putting them together, post-production, editing them. More so than like the other videos that I do, but I do enjoy doing them, and I will finish that series off. I may even revisit the first 2. I don't know yet. I've had a different thought in my mind of a way of how they'd be more appealing to watch, but we'll see. Lockie kicks off at 10, so curfew time then. Yeah, I'll try and get done by 10. If we're done, we're done. If we're not, we're not. It is what it is. Quick question while you're all here. What strips enamel paint off metals? Tried acetone, but didn't make a difference, says Tom. That's one for the chat. Do let him know. Right, okay, so without further ado, there are comments coming through. Keep the comments coming. Like I say, as I'm going through the book, please feel free. I will keep looking up at the chat. But yeah, let's get stuck into it. We've got a good few people in, 46 people in. You're all keen to see what's in this book. So I will change the camera now to this one. Yeah, that'll do. Let me move the microphone out of the way. So as you can see, I am going to show on screen the book, the pages, as I'm reading through them. There should be a slight soft focus on the book, which will, let me have a look if it is working. It should, yeah, you're not really going to be able to make out the text, which is what I want. It's not me being weird and awkward. It's just I don't want to get into trouble with anyone. Even though I do know they're already out there, I just don't want to be that guy. So I'll be reading through and we can have a chat as we go. So let's get in there. We've got the inner cover is obviously the nice Middle-earth map that is we all know and love from the other books. Some nice imagery there and a bit of a sort of inside cover again with a little quote from Gogledore. 9 for mortal men doomed to die. Fallen Necromancer. This book is pretty much about, it's aimed around the Necromancer and the Wraith and things like that. We had the old Fallen Necromancer book, which was one of my favourites, and this is, I mean, I'll come to it later in the book, but I'm pleasantly pleased with how this sort of evolves towards the end of the book, and you'll know what I mean when I come to it. It's got a bit of an introduction. It's telling us what's in the books. We've got narrative play scenarios, a linked campaign, the history of the Necromancer, army lists, legendary legions, and painting and modelling. And that's the bit that I'm kind of talking about, the painting and modelling. I love to see this hobby stuff now back in these books. I'd like to see a little bit more, but the fact that we're getting it is a step in the right direction for me. Like, that is painting guides, building guides, and things like that is right up my street. And I think it's what made the older books so appealing and got people who wouldn't normally hobbying. So that's that. Got the history of the Necromancer, which basically just gives you a bit of background. So if you're not overly familiar with the lore or the books, and you've only seen the movies, this gives you a little bit of background as to who the Necromancer is. Like, the Necromancer is mentioned in The Hobbit, and anyone who's seen Lord of the Rings and then watched The Hobbit, you've just seen the Sauron, and I think, well, you know, what's this Necromancer malarkey? Well, this tells you all about why he's called the Necromancer, you know, and how he come to be, and who exactly he is, and how he got to be where he is in Lord of the Rings and things like that. We've got a little bit of a timeline for different events of what happened in this book and in the movies and things like that. So that's really interesting and really good read, and really nice, like I say, for people who aren't as familiar as others. We then move on to the scenarios, more imagery from the book, and there are, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 13. Now I'm not gonna go into detail about the scenarios. I'm gonna talk about them, the details of who's in them, and what the objectives are. And when I've done that, I will jump in the chat, and if there's any questions about it, then I'll address them. But generally, these are just really thematic narrative scenarios. These are not match play scenarios. So your first scenario is the founding of Dulgaldor. And it gives you a little, they always give you a little bit of an intro, a little bit of background, setting the scene, if you like. Although Sauron has been defeated by the last alliance of men and elves at the end of the Second Age, Isildur's refusal to destroy the Ring of Power allowed the Dark Lord spirit to endure. For hundreds of years, Sauron awaited within the darkness, slowly gathering his strength until he could return to Middle-earth. Now that is just the first paragraph. I'm not going to ruin it for anyone who has ordered the book or pre-ordered it and read it all. But kind of gives you an idea of what it is. He's starting to come back, and he's building up his strength and his power, and he's building his armies and things like that. So the objectives to the founding of Dulgaldor say, the Necromancer plans to build his fortress in secret, and so the woodsman must be removed from Amon Lank to ensure the Dark Lord's plan goes undiscovered. The evil player wins if at the end of any turn all of the woodsmen have been slain. The good player wins immediately if the Necromancer has been slain. So the participants are Woodsman Chieftain with shield, 12 woodsmen, 4 with shield, 4 with throwing spear and shield, and 4 with bow. There's a special note that's basically telling you the woodsmen are the same profile as men of Rohan, warriors of Rohan. So you'd use a captain of Rohan as the chieftain, and then normal warriors as the woodsmen themselves. Really sets it up really nicely to convert and create some little characters and kind of different types of models for this scenario, which I'll, if I get the time, I would love to do, because this is the kind of stuff that I used to really like I used to love converting models and making models that aren't available, so that's great. I like that already. The evil side is the Necromancer of Dulgaldor, 12 Orc warriors, 4 with shield, 4 with spear, 2 with two-handed weapons, and 2 with an Orc bow. It's a 4x4 board. The board represents the area around Ammanlank. It should be densely covered with trees, rocky outcrops, hedges, and other undergrowth. Place a woodsman's hut in the centre of the board. Starting positions, the good player deploys their force anywhere within 3 inches of the woodman's hut. The evil player then deploys their force anywhere on the board, at least 12 inch from any good model. So basically, yeah, it's kill or be killed, it seems. I'm not going to lie, it seems a little bit one-sided, but you know, it's going with theme and it's going with the narrative vibe of it. There are some special rules. So the Dark Lord, though he possesses great power, Sauron still needs to regain much of his strength he once had. The Necromancer begins the game with only 12 points of will. And then there's another special rule, the Sense of Dread. Though the woodsmen do not know the full extent of the terror attacking them, they rightfully fear it, and all those that follow this shadow into battle. All evil models have the terror special rule in this scenario. So again, this is just setting the scene. The woodsmen have it really tough, really tough. You've got the Necromancer and a full warband of orcs against basically a lowly Rohan captain and a warband of Rohan warriors. So really up against it. But a lot of fun to play all the same. And again, the conversion options there are great. Let's have a look. We'll see if anyone's asking that. Print screen. Yeah, you can print screen all you want, but you won't be able to read the writing. So I'm not that daft. Sean asks, is this early access? Yes, so the Top Table Gaming, we are lucky enough to get some of the stuff a little bit early, so we can review it. Anyone who's seen the other videos I did, I've done a review on the new Witch King model and the terrain, the Dulgaldor terrain. And I thought it'd be cool to do this live and chat with you guys about what's in the book rather than me just read it on a pre-recorded video. Which of the scenarios caught your eye and why? I'll come to that at the end, Michael. I'll come to that at the end. But nice little scenario. Yes. So the scenario after that, the Gathering of Evil. Again, I'll read the first paragraph from the explanation. I won't read it all because I don't want to ruin it. Years after the foundations of Dulgaldor, darkness spreads out across the greenwood, drawing more evil to the forest. The creatures that live within the trees are becoming bolder, attacking those that wander the elven paths. Orcs have taken up residence within the southern fortress and have been sighted cutting down trees and raiding villages on the edges of Greenwood. I don't know how well you can see that. So it's basically it's a 4x4 board again, densely covered in trees. It's split in half. You've got evil deployment at the top, good deployment area in the bottom is a 6-inch semicircle in the bottom, and the Necromancer deploys in the middle. Objectives are: Sauron must see that the elves are killed or risk alerting the Elven King to the location of his fortress. The good side wins if any 4 good models can escape the board via the northern board edge. The evil player wins if he can slay all the elves. If at least 1 but fewer than 4 elves escape the board, then the game is a draw. Special rules: the Dark Lord, again, though he possesses great power, Sauron still needs to regain blah blah blah. The Necromancer begins the game with only 12 points of will, and then the darkness descends. Good models can only see up to 6 inches in this scenario, therefore they cannot shoot enemy models that are more than 6 inches away from them. Sauron and his orcs are accustomed to the darkness and can therefore see as normal. Participants are a Merkwood Ranger captain and 10 Merkwood Rangers. For the evil side, the Necromancer, 12 Orc warriors with 4 with shield, 4 with spear, 2 two-handed weapons, and 2 with bow. So again, it's like you can sort of see it as a bit of a recon type scenario. It feels a little bit one-sided when you look at the forces, but this isn't. The elves are not here to wipe out or kill the Necromancer or wipe the force out. They're there just to get 4 of them off the table. So you're going to be using tactics to try and tie things up, and so you've got like little gaps and little windows to jump through and get 4 of the elves off. It's going to be very difficult because the Necromancer is right up in your face early on, and he's got his spells and things, but he's not got a lot of will. But yeah, I still think it's tough. I still think it's tough. Cool little scenario, really nice pictures. Really like the way they've gone to town on this. Looks like they put a lot of effort into the photography, and built like the vibe of the scenario in the background, which is really nice. So that's the Gathering of Evil. Have a quick look in here. Brr, 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 brr. The new format unboxing of the Witch King was great, by the way, says Sean. Thank you. I was really lucky. I got that model a long time. I was surprised how early I got it, so I was able to do that. And that was actually the second. Second, I filmed an unboxing, and recorded it and edited it and everything. And then when I put it out, I wasn't happy with it. I don't think I got across my enthusiasm for it. So I refilmed it, and by that time, obviously, I had time to paint it up and everything. So it's a really nice model, really, really nice model. I'm just trying to have a look here. Frederick says, "Love the idea of converting the Woodsman, Lake Town, Rohan, Ruffians, Dunlanding, whatever." Yeah, yeah, and I can't wait to see what you do with it, Frederick. Where are we here? Maybe just some Perry minis for friendly games to make some Woodsman. Yeah, at the end of the day, the games that you have in with your pals, you can do what you want. Katrina Daly, I have a feeling this will be super fun campaign to play. I'm assuming this is Carl Daly. I'm torn between this or Scarring of Cheshire once I've played the quest. I'm torn between this or Scarring of the Shire. I've got Scarring of Cheshire on my mind once I've played the quest campaign. Yeah, the Scarring of the Shire actual campaign is super cool. We played a few of them and filmed a few of them and didn't actually edit them all. There are a few on the channel if you look back. But yeah, that was one of the narrative campaigns that I would really like to revisit and play through, for sure. But this is a cool one as well. So the next scenario is lurking in the shadows on the lurking in the shadows. What that? As the years have passed, Merkwood has increasingly become a place of fear and evil. The forest has grown into a dark and twisted version of the grandeur it once possessed, becoming a home for evil to dwell in undisturbed. Huge webs have become common sight in the southern reaches of Merkwood, and the elves have learned to stay away from them if they value their lives. So if you have a look at the map here, as you can see it, where my finger is here, there's like a sort of I'd say it's like a rock face with a door in the centre, and then it's got a 12-inch semicircle coming out from that door, and it says that's evil deployment. Then you've got 4 spider nests placed evenly, sort of towards each corner, and in the very centre is the good deployment in a 6-inch circle. So it'll be a 12-inch full width, 6-inch radius. Is that the right word? Objectives: this band of elves has strayed into the Spider Queen's lair and must kill her if they have any chance of escaping. The game lasts until one force has completed their objective. The good force wins if they can kill the Spider Queen. The evil force wins if all the elves are slain before this can happen. Yeah, Spider Queen is coming into play, which is one of the releases announced today. A great model and a great profile, really good profile. Special rules: the spider nests. Good models treat spider nests as difficult terrain. Additionally, whenever a spider model is slain, with the exception of the Spider Queen, keep it to one side. At the start of each turn, before priority is determined, roll a d6 for each spider model that is kept aside in this manner. On a 5-up, that model will re-enter the board via one of the spider nests. To determine where they enter from, roll a further d6. On a 1 to 3, the good player chooses the spider nest, and on a 4+, the evil player decides. Models that arrive in this manner are placed anywhere within or touching the spider nest and may act as normal that turn. So they can come on that turn and charge. That's interesting, to say the least. One of the special rules again is swarm of spiders. Shooting attacks that target the Spider Queen suffer a -1 penalty when rolling to hit. Additionally, shooting attacks will only wound the Spider Queen on the roll of a natural 6. So it's basically you've got to kill her in melee. It's making it really difficult. I'm not saying you can't kill her, because you do have quite a lot of elves, so you can have a lot of bows. Participants for good are 2 ranger captains and 20 Merkwood rangers. So actually, you've got a good chance of rolling a few 6s if you can get a load of shots off. But then it depends how quick you can do that before getting tied up by the other spiders. The evil side is a Spider Queen, 6 giant spiders and 6 Merkwood spiders and 2 bat swarms. Now that's interesting. That's interesting. So the fight value that the elves have got isn't always going to put them in good stead in certain fights. You've got 2 bat swarms there. Nice little scenario. Elves try and kill the spiders. We've seen that in the movies. Yeah, it's cool. Again, nice image here. Try and get the light not reflecting on it. of the elves coming out of the woods in the background. You got the Spider Queen, some spiders, and what they've made is sort of like a pile of stones with all bits of debris around it. It's going to be the nest. That again, more kind of aimed at the more hobby-minded player. You know, building those spider nests would be quite cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really good, really good. Let's have a look in the chat. I need to highlight where I was up to, don't I? Catherine Ludwig says, "Hi, first time on here. Looking forward to this. I have no one to play the game with, but I still like reading the books and painting the models. I was like that for a long, long time." Nathan says, "Where are you from, Catherine? I'm sure gamers can be found." I was going to say exactly the same thing. Near Crosshands, southwest Wales. I know there's quite a big community in Wales of players. I don't know Wales geography that well, so I don't know where Crosshands is. But I'm sure if you go on the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group, and you know, if you put a shout out saying, "Does anyone want a game? I'm here," someone will reach out to you, and you can get some games in. And you may feel that you might not be ready for games. I would highly recommend just biting a bullet and doing it, because do you know what? It's the best way to learn to play the game is to play the game. Before I even played my first game, I read the book back to front, or front to back, should I say, many times, and still it wasn't all there. But after I played a few games, the things just clicked, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a great community as well. So welcome first and foremost, and yeah, get some of the stuff that you're working on, post it in the Facebook group, Top Table Gaming community. It'd be great to have a look at it, and also, like I say, shout out, just say if anyone in Wales wants to play or show you the ropes. I'm sure there'll be a few there. I couldn't be Carl. He's barred from the stream tonight, isn't he? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. There's a South Wales Facebook group, I think. Maybe worth saying hello. Nathan knows more than me. He knows more than me. I know there's a big Wales community. Why would Carl be banned? Has Steve mentioned sport yet? Yes, been there, done that. Hajinder's in. How you doing, Pi? Says, "Are they the Hobbit era Wood Elves or the Lord of the Rings Wood Elves?" Hobbit era, because it is Merkwood Rangers. It's Hobbit era. Sean Boys, I'm from North Wales, and Mark says, "Are you doing a build or paint vid with the new terrain, Steve?" Possibly. I'm trying the next. I mean, the rest of this year, to be honest. So the next. Up until Christmas, I'm jam-packed. So I've got Scouring of Cheshire, the event on the 6th and 7th of November. I've got to get boards finished for that. So I've still got another couple to build before that is. And I've got the B-Sign meetup next weekend. And then it's 2 weeks then till Scouring. And then after that, I've got a ticket to the Warhammer World event. So that's the first week of December. And then obviously in between I've got stuff for the kids. I've got like a Harry Potter thing on Halloween week where we're going to some forest to see some Harry Potter thing. I don't know what it is. And then obviously Christmas and all that malarkey. So I'm taking a month off at Christmas. So I'll be off most of January. So there'll be a lot of content coming in January. So yeah, it's a possibility. I don't think I'm going to get a Dulgaldor board built for the 6th and 7th of November, but it will be built, for the event in March. Carl's not watching, I promise. He's watching. No, he's not watching the GP. He's not. Yeah, so next scenario is, I don't want to drag too much time on this because I don't want to just drag everyone out for hours before we get to the QC stuff. Flight to the East. Since the coming of Sauron to Dulgaldor, the Greenwood has become a place of fear and darkness, corrupted by the influence of the Necromancer and known by the new name of Merkwood. Yet the shadow that has grown over this once... I do apologise. How do I put this on silent? It's my iPad. Where was I? Yet the shadow that has grown over this once verdant forest is not gone unnoticed by the wise in Middle-earth, and they begin to fear that an ancient evil may have arrived. So it's a 4x4 board again. The board represents the fortress of Dulgaldor, which will be covered by walls, ruins, and other such terrain, providing plenty of cover across the board. It'd be great if you had some Dulgaldor terrain. Yeah, so it's 4x4, and having built one of the kits and looking at this map, you can sort of see it there, like all corner pieces. You would probably get away with, if you didn't stack it in 3 tiers, you'd probably get away with 2 kits to fill that board in that manner. I personally like a really busy board, so I'd probably want to use more. But yeah, so if one of your questions was going to be, oh, how many terrain kits would we need to emulate the maps and for the scenarios on there, I reckon for that you could get away with 2 kits, so it's pretty good. The objectives in the scenario are: Gandalf is trying to discover the truth about who or what is casting the shadow over Merkwood. Sauron cannot risk being discovered, and so he's trying to evade Gandalf and escape into the east. The game lasts until one side completes their objective. The good side wins if the Necromancer has been revealed and Gandalf escapes the board via any board edge. The evil player wins if the Necromancer has not been revealed when he escapes the board via the eastern board edge. Any other result is a draw. So if you look at the map here, we've got a blacked out area, can you see, which is 12 inches on from the left. And that is evil deployment. And also along that board edge, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black dots. And I'll tell you what they are in a moment. And good deployment here is the centre of the board, a 6-inch semicircle. The participants are Gandalf the Grey for good, so he would deploy here. And then on the evil side, you've got the Necromancer of Dulgaldor and 4 Castellans of Dulgaldor. Special rules: Shadow of the Necromancer. The Necromancer is not deployed at the start of the game. Instead, 6 40mm bases, these along the edge, are deployed touching the western board edge, each representing a place where the Necromancer could be. One of these bases is the Necromancer, and the evil player should note down which one is Sauron, either by marking one underneath or numbering all the bases and making a note of the numbered base, which numbered base is the Necromancer. These move in the same way as the Necromancer, and the evil player will win if his base representing the Necromancer escapes the board via the board edge. Ah, right, okay, so when I first read this, I thought they stay still and Gandalf has to get to them and search them, but they actually all move as if they are the Necromancer, but only one of them actually is. That's cool. Revealing the Necromancer. If at the end of any good move phase, Gandalf is within 6 inches of a 40mm base and can draw an unobscured line of sight to all parts of the base, then the evil player must reveal if the base was a decoy or not. In fact, the Necromancer himself, decoy or not, or in fact, the Necromancer himself. Additionally, if the Necromancer casts any magical powers, then he will automatically be revealed. So if you use him in anger, so to speak, he reveals himself. I like the fact that they're all moving, you don't know which one it is. The cost of deception. The Necromancer loses a point of will at the end of each move phase in which he has not been revealed. Okay. And the Grey Pilgrim. Gandalf has 2 attacks in this scenario, so that's obviously so he can fight off the Castellans. Interesting and cool scenario. You don't know which one it is. You one model, you've got to stop a possible 6 models getting off your board edge in and around terrain. But you've only got to be within 6 inches. You've not got to touch them. You've only got to be within 6 inches with a clear line of sight. So you could, in theory, reading this, I think, you could search 2 of the bases if you've got 2 of them in clear line of sight at the end of the move phase. That's a cool little scenario. I like that one. It's a bit different. I like the narrative scenarios that make you play the game a little bit differently. They're always quite cool because they can get a bit samey otherwise. You know, special rules and different things like that make it cool. Sean says, I hope we get the new version of the scenario where it's basically heroes v heroes. Michael says, MESBG community seemingly worldwide is a very friendly one, including tournaments. Correct. Sean is a Liverpool supporter, but we won't talk about that, Sean. Catherine says, if you go into Harry Potter World near Watford, you'll love it. And for this book, the Forbidden Forest part will be inspiring. No, we're not going to Harry Potter World. We are going to go there, but we're going to go there, I think, in the new year when the kids are off. This is it's just up the road from me, and I think they've been doing it around the country, or they're going to be doing it around the country, and it's in Lim Forest, and it's like you go walking around, and they have all like light shows and fireworks and things like that. It's all Harry Potter themed. It was quite cool. No, Nathan, you're not. GBHL podcast, I'm assuming it's Damien. It says, evening, all said and done. Between sickness, yes, it is, Damien. Between sickness and rancid footy, today's been a very bad day. Tuning in from my sick bed to hopefully have my B-sign brother cheer me up with some hobby goodness. Hope so, mate. I hope you're feeling better. And yes, you are GBHL podcast. Andrew Pennington says, "Evening, Damien. Hope you feel better soon. I heard the football was anything but rancid. Feel better soon," says Nathan. Everyone's saying hello to Damien. That's a very cool scenario, says Sean. That is, I like that one. I do like that one. Lots of hope you feel better soon to Damien. No, I did not say that, Frederick. You heard wrong. Anthony W, do you think they will release Sauron in plastic at some point? I hope so. I really thought we'd get a new Sauron model with this release, but we didn't. I think if we do, it will be way, way further down the line. I would like a character series, Forge World, Hobbit era Sauron. But I think the fact that this has come out and we've not seen one, if we are going to get one, it's going to be a way off. Where are we? So if I highlight that, and I'm going to move on to the next scenario, which is called the Watchful Peace. With Sauron having fled into the east, his influence over the forest of Merkwood faded in the years following his absence. Dulgaldor fell into ruin, and the orcs and creatures that had become commonplace within the forest slunk back into the shadows, enabling those who sought to traverse the paths of Merkwood to do so once again. This time became known as the Watchful Peace. So again, another 4x4 board. We've not come across any mini games or smaller boards yet in some of the other smaller source books, especially the Skyrim of the Shire book. We had a lot of like 2x2s and things like that. This is 4x4, so they're all full-size boards, and you're going to need a lot of trees to play these scenarios. If we look at the board, we have 12-inch from the northern board edge, 12-inch deployment area, and the Evil have a 24-inch from the southern board edge deployment area. Starting positions, yep, just explain that. The objectives are, I'll tell you who the participants are first. So the good, you get to play Legolas Greenleaf, Prince of Merkwood Ranger Captain, and 10 Merkwood Rangers. So you get to use Legolas for the first time. On the evil side, you've got 2 Orc Captains with shield, 24 Orc Warriors, 4 with shield, 8 with spear, 2 with two-handed weapon, 4 with an Orc bow. The objectives, the elves have come across a band of orcs they must kill, enough of them to force the orcs to turn tail and flee. The game lasts until the end of a turn in which one side has completed their objective. The good side wins if they can reduce the evil side to 25% of their starting numbers, in other words 6 models remaining. The evil side wins if they can reduce the good side to 25% of their starting model, in other words 3 models remaining. Special rules, the Prince of Merkwood. If Legolas is slain, then the game ends immediately and the evil side wins. Silent Hunters. Good models may re-roll fail to hit rolls when making shooting attacks if they did not move during the preceding move phase. That's cool because it's not like an auto thing you get, so you've got to think, I'll not move, so I get that bonus. So yeah, that makes it interesting, gives you something to think about. It's just not like an automatic thing, which is nice. Yeah, it's. The elves are outnumbered, obviously, but I think you're going to definitely whittle down the orcs with bow fire, strength 3 bows. You've got 11 shots a turn. You know, you'd be upset if you didn't at least kill 2 a turn, I think, before you sort of hit each other. And you are 12 inches away. I think as the good models, you might sit and take a couple of turns of shooting, and then go and start picking off the rest. But if you have 2 bad turns of shooting, you're in trouble. But nice little scenario. Pretty straightforward, face off and scrap. Yeah, okay. That one's pretty straightforward. So what I'll do is, rather than jump back in the chat and just talk about, let's see if there's anything about that, we'll go straight to the next one. So the next one is called Clearing the Nests. Unknown to the Elves of Merkwood, the Necromancer has returned to his domain of Dulgaldor in southern Merkwood. And with the Dark Lords coming, the fell creatures of the forest have once more begun to creep further from the shadows. Giant cobwebs have become much more common sight, and with each passing year, the spiders that spun them venture further northwards towards the woodland realm. Again, really nice photography. I think I've been taking a leaf out of your book, Damien. You know, putting a lot more effort into the setting the scene with the photography in the book, which is nice. On a 4x4 board again, we have a 3-inch semicircle on the eastern board edge and a 3-inch semicircle on the western board edge, where it says the giant spider deployment area. And then the Merkwood spider deployment area is, you've got a nest dead center, and it looks like it's 3 inches out from the center of the nest. And then good deployment area is a 6-inch semicircle on the northern board edge. The participants again are Legolas with Tariel this time, so Damien will be happy. 10 Merkwood Rangers. The evil side is 6 Merkwood Spiders and 6 Giant Spiders. The objectives are the Merkwood Rangers have set out to destroy one of the larger spider nests, though its inhabitants will fiercely protect it. The game lasts until one side has completed its objective. The good side wins if the spider nest is destroyed. The evil side wins if the good side is wiped out. So the evil's got a lot to do here, I think. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for the evil side. I think this is more aimed at the good side being victorious. Special rules to spider nest. Good models may charge the spider's nest during the move phase and may attack it during the fight phase, provided they are not in base contact with any other enemy models. Good models do not need to make a duel roll against the nest. They will automatically win, and may simply strike blows. The spider's nest has 3 wounds and will only ever be wounded on the roll of a natural 6. That makes it a little bit tougher, I think. More where they came from is another rule. Whenever a spider model is slain, keep it to one side at the start of each turn. Before priority is determined, roll a d6 for each spider model kept aside in this way. On a 5-up, the evil player will place that spider model within 6 inches of the spider's nest, but not within the control zones of enemy models. Models that arrive in this manner are placed anywhere within or touching the spider's nest may act as normal that turn, again, so they can come on and charge, which makes it really tricky. So I think that's going to be the thing. Having enough spiders tied up alive on the board and having enough elves left after tying them up to be able to attack the nest. Yeah, interesting, and again, totally different way of playing the game. Really nice, really nice. I quite like it. That's a fun little scenario. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with that. Let's have a look in the chat before we go on to the next one. Hajinda says the cat and mouse scenarios are really good, really puts the pressure on. Yes, it does. Which History of Middle Earth books do you have on the shelf back there? I've got a few. They're not all there. I've got a shelf up there. They just didn't all fit there, and I was trying to fit my my wet stuff on there. I've got quite a few. I've not read them all. I bought them thinking, oh, yeah, I'll really brush up on my my lore, and just don't have time. Sean says, I hope so, Anthony. After struggling to put my Failcast one together today. That was Anthony asking about a plastic release. Michael Haskell says, I'm one of those who wasn't bowled over with much of the Hobbit films, aesthetics included, but the scenarios thus far are intriguing, so the book may be swaying me. Having said that, I did like the spiders in Desolation of Smaug and harbour a desire to build a spider Middle Earth SPG army. Me and you both, and Mr. Macklin has just joined us, says evening. How are you doing, Tom? Me and you both, Michael, I actually have a shelf full of spiders just off camera there. I think I've got 9 Merkwood spiders, a load of giant spiders, bats and wargs and things like that. And I did for a long time want to have like a beastie army. And it's there. I can still use it all painted. I just never got a chance to do it. Damien says, imagine being the poor doo-doo job it was to run up to a Merkwood spiders near and attack it. Nope. Need to get one of Saruman's bombs in there. Only way to be sure. Yeah. I like that scenario. I think that's a cool one. I think that is a cool one. Next one. I'm getting through these as quick as I can, as I know the juicy stuff is near the end. Attack on Roskabel. To the west of the Forest of Merkwood lies the dwelling of Roskabel, the home of Radagast the Brown, one of the wandering Istari. Unlike the other wizards in Middle-earth, Radagast does not concern himself with the goings-on of the wider world. Instead, he generally minds his own business and tends to the creatures and plants of the forest. Again, this is a really nice picture. They've used what looks like a load of branches off the Citadel wood, the old Citadel wood, and they've kind of made them look like roots all in the ground. Radagast, like, on the plastic pose, he looks like he's like sort of skipping along over the roots and everything like that with the Merkwood spiders. Really nice imagery. Now this is on a 2x2 board, so this is a mini game. So this will be really interesting. So you've got a 2x2 board. You've got 6 objectives in hexagon. Is it hexagon? Yeah. Dots in a hexagon, equal distance from each other. Starting positions are, I'll tell you the participants first. It's Radagast the Brown against 4 Merkwood spiders. Starting positions are, the good player deploys Radagast, touching the door to his house, which is in the centre of the board here. This would be a great scenario to play, Damien, with the board of yours from SBG Mag that we've got at the studio. The evil player deploys 4 Merkwood spiders so that each one is touching the center of a different board edge. All right, okay, so it's, yeah, northeast, southwest. And the objectives are: Radagast is trying to rescue the creatures from the forest from the dark magic that is poisoning them, while the spiders are hunting down the brown wizard as their latest prey. The game lasts until one side has completed their objective. The good player wins if they can rescue all of the creatures within Roskabel and have Radagast enter his house by moving into it via the front door. The evil player wins if Radagast is slain. Right, so the objectives are sick animals that Radagast has to basically save. Run out, save the 6 animals, and get back into his house. Rescuing creatures, special rule. The 6 objective markers represent the woodland creatures in need of rescue. Radagast may save a creature by ending his move in base contact with a marker so long as he is not engaged in combat. When the creature has been successfully rescued, remove the marker from play. Again, really nice for the hobbyist, more of the hobby-minded gamer to make these markers of sick animals and things like that. Really, really cool way just to sort of improve on your hobby and expand on your hobby. Radagast Determination. Whenever Radagast rescues a creature, he may restore 1 fate point he spent earlier in a battle. So that's cool. So you can be using spells and getting... you can be using spells and combating, and if you're losing wounds, you can get, or using your fate to stop wounds, you can get your fate back. Because it is a small board and spiders can move 10 inches. It can get... I think by the time you get to your 5th or 6th objective, it's going to be pretty hairy for Radagast. Yeah, nice 2x2 board, cool little scenario. Looking at it, I think Radagast has got a lot of work to do, but you know, you never know. You never know. You get some if you have bad casting rolls, you're in trouble. But yeah, cool little scenario. Let's have a look. Spider armors are surprisingly tough, and some opponents concede their game when you field them. Sean says new rabbit models maybe be nice, or you could chop up Radagast on sleigh to make the sick animals if you're rolling in cash. Are we still seeing scenarios? Have I missed the Legendary Legion reveals? You have not, Brian. They will be coming. We're just going through the scenarios as quick as we can. Damien says, pretty sure I played this one a couple of times on the GVHL with Longy back in the day. It was really good fun. I feel like it disappeared in SBG, says Nathan. Attack on Roskabel. Isn't this the scenario or similar played out in one of the SBG magazines with James Long? Could be. I can't remember. Next one is Exploration of Dulgaldor. Having repelled the spiders that have invaded his homestead, Radagast begins to wonder where such foul creatures have come from. Learning that have been spawning in the areas around the old fortress of Dulgaldor, he sets out to investigate its ruins for the source of the dark magic that has set the creatures loose. So again, this is a smaller board, 2x2 again, with some ruins, which is again handy because you've got the ruins of Dulgaldor, which is great. You've got it's showing me that Radagast is starting here on the southern board edge in the center, and then you've got 6 objectives again. Can you see them? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Set out what looks like in the more the northern side. You've got 3 along the center line, and it looks like 3 more, maybe a foot back. Participants are Radagast, the Brown with Sebastian, and the evil side is the Witch King of Angmar and Nazgul of Dulgaldor. Starting positions: the good player deploys Radagast in base contact with the entrance to Dulgaldor, which is obviously here. The evil player does not deploy the Witch King initially, but he will appear as the game progresses. The good player automatically has priority each turn until the Witch King is revealed. Objectives: Radagast must try to locate substantive evidence that something evil dwells within Dulgaldor. Retrieve it and then escape the fortress. The game continues until one player has completed their objective. The good player wins if Radagast can find the evidence and then escape the board via the entrance where he started. The evil player wins if Radagast is slain. Now, there's quite a few special rules on this, all down this side. Investigating statues. If Radagast ends his movement in base contact with a statue, he may investigate it. So I'm assuming the statues are, yes, Radagast is searching for them. He should be numbered 1 to 6. Yeah, so each of them is going to be a statue. So he ends his movement in contact with a statue, he may investigate it. Roll a d6. On a 1 to 5, it is just a statue and nothing happens. On a 6, Radagast locates the evidence he needs. This is a light object. Each statue can only be investigated once. So assuming this is going to be the Witch King's dagger. Again, a really nice sort of, you could paint the dagger on the underside of one of the statues or something like that. And then the Witch King. At the start of the game, the evil player secretly rolls a d6 and notes the result down, making sure the good player cannot see it. This is the statue that the Witch King is hidden within. If Radagast attempts to investigate the statue the Witch King is in, the evil player immediately places the Witch King in base contact with Radagast. From this point on, Radagast no longer needs to locate the evidence. The ghostly creature in front of him is proof enough. Instead, if Radagast slays the Witch King, he immediately gains possession of the evidence. If Radagast uncovers the evidence before the Witch King is revealed, the evil player may place the Witch King anywhere on the board within 3 inches of the statue he was hiding inside of, but at least 1 inch away from Radagast. The Witch King may then move as normal. In this scenario, the Witch King does not benefit from his unholy resurrection special rule. Instead, if the Witch King is slain, the evil player may immediately place the Witch King in base contact with any statue and at least 1 inch from Radagast. And he might or will previously spent remain spent. The Will of the Necromancer. Radagast suffers -1 penalty when making a casting roll. Additionally, the Witch King of Anmar gains the resistance to magic special rule. That, yeah, tough for Radagast, especially with the -1 penalty for the casting. And it's the Witch King, it's Hobbit era Witch King, not the Witch King that we all know and love from Lord of the Rings. So it's Hobbit era, which is thematic because it's from the Hobbit movies. But cool little scenario. 2x2 board. Again, using the ruins. If you've got the ruins, you're laughing. There's a few scenarios that you can use them in. Cool. I like that one. I'll jump in the chat. Let's have a look. Agreed, Michael. It was a tense battle report, says Nathan. Catherine says, I've seen the SBG magazines and I've wondered how to get them. Any info on how to buy or subscribe? Well, Catherine, it's lucky that Mr. O'Byrne is in the chat, but if you email sbgmagazine@gmail.com, you can inquire that way. If you send that email address an email, that's how you get them. And it's Damien who is in the chat. I'm sure you could ask him directly for any issues that you may want. But yeah, it's the easiest way to drop an email to that email address and he will hook you up. Andrew says, there are many 25, 28mm scaled animal models on eBay, cheap as chips. This is true. Frederick says, yeah, the Roskabel one is an SBG. Yes, Catherine, Google them and you'll find a link to the website. Black Friday is coming. How do I pay? Sean says, shouldn't exploration of Dulgaldor scenario with Radagast being before Gandalf scenario? Maybe. Also good to mention rocks and dinosaurs. Yeah. Damien or Tom will give you the lowdown on the magazine. Can someone type the email address in? If you can't, if you're not able to type it, let me know. Now this one, it's as if by magic. Speaking of SBG magazines, this one is called Thrain the Broken, and there's a little designer's note here which you won't be able to read because I've set the focus off, so you can't screenshot these. Designer's note: this scenario was originally created as a fan-made scenario by Damien O'Byrne and Tom Harrison when the extended edition of The Hobbit Battle of Five Armies came out. They have kindly allowed us to make some small tweaks to update the scenario and publish it with this supplement. How cool is that? So this scenario was originally written by Damien and Tom and featured in said SBG magazine, and the Middle-earth team was so impressed with it, obviously, and think that it is cool, and it is cool. I've seen a lot of people play this, I think, at one of the destinations of Stockport, that they've included it in this book, and it will be forever in this book. That's their claim to fame, and I think that's pretty awesome. I think that is pretty awesome. So yeah, congrats, man, congrats. We've got a lovely picture here, Gandalf, Thrain, with the Dulgaldor scenery and orcs hiding in the battlements above, which is cool. Again, I'll read you the first paragraph of the scene setting text. Having found evidence in the High Fells that Sauron may indeed have returned to Middle-earth, Gandalf and Radagast have come to the outskirts of Dulgaldor in an attempt to discover the truth about the evil that lies within. Radagast fears that the Astari might be about to walk into a trap, something that Gandalf agrees is likely to be the case. So again, it's on a 2x2 board. And as you can see, which is because you've got the dark and light, so the lighter areas are like the corridors with stairs going up each side, and they're like a sort of a maze-like board. Gandalf starts on the northern board edge, and then you've got these 5 objectives, one in dead center, and then kind of one in each corner. Really, really cool. Again, I've seen Barry O'Neill made this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Damon. I think it was Barry O'Neill. Made this, and I've seen it played, and it's fantastic, and I'm actually looking forward to recreating this. I have an idea for my Dulgaldor board for the actual center courtyard to be able to be lifted off and then just sort of buried. Is that it's not going to be playable when the game is when the board is being used in tournament purposes or for match play, but it means it saves me making 2 boards. I can put that inside of the Dulgaldor board that I'm going to build and just lift off an area, and that's underneath, and you can play this mini game just for fun. That's my idea anyway. So it says the layout. The board represents the dungeons of Dulgaldor. It should consist of a series of tunnels, corridors, and passageways, forming a twisting labyrinth where each tunnel interlinks with each other. See the map for an example of how this may look. There should be 5 objectives placed around the board, 1 in the center of the board, and the others should be positioned so that each is approximately 6 inches from a different corner of the board. Participants are Gandalf the Grey, Thrain the Broken, and 5 Hunter Orcs. Starting positions. The good player places Gandalf touching the center of the northern board edge. The evil player places Thrain the Broken within 1 inch of the central objective, then place 1 Hunter Orc within 1 inch of each of the other objectives. The objectives are Gandalf must break the spell of concealment that lies upon Dulgaldor and then restore the mind of Thrain. Those who dwell within the fortress seek to slay the Grey Wizard. The game lasts until 1 player completes their objective. The good player wins if they can disarm each objective first and then subdue Thrain. The evil player wins if Gandalf is slain. Special rules. Sentries. The Hunter Orcs begin the game as sentries as described in the main rules manual. Spell of concealment. Gandalf must disarm the spells that linger over the 5 objectives to disarm the unobjective. Gandalf must be within 1 inch of the objective and successfully cast the command magical power upon it. The wizard has come. Gandalf causes terror in this scenario, which will be very handy. Grip of madness. Thrain is not subject to his shattered spirit rule in this scenario. Instead, he is simply treated as an evil model. Subduing Thrain. Gandalf may not strike blows against Thrain if he wins a fight against him. This restriction ends when all 5 objectives have been disarmed, in which case Gandalf will not actually slay Thrain, rather simply break the madness that has taken hold of him. Quietly in the darkness. Gandalf may not use the Sorcerer's Blast or Collapse Rock's magical powers in this scenario. Cool little scenario. Lots of fun, lots of laughs, and lots of surprises, I think. Really, really like this scenario. And fingers crossed, you know, may get a chance to maybe play this out one day soon on screen. Who knows? Who knows? But really, really cool. Let's have a look what you're saying in the chat before we move on to Capture of the Grey Wizard. How many scenarios are there, and how many are on a 2x2 board? I think we've had 3 up to now. This one, the next one, is on a 3x2 board. So we'll count up at the end. Michael Haskell says, I think there are 11 issues currently and lots of great content. Damien can correct me, but I believe they started when it looked like Middle-earth content in White Dwarf was reducing. Has there ever been a fan-made supplement in a rule book like that? Does anyone know? Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. Andrew Pennington, now reached immortality. Congrats, Damien and Tom. Ashley Fisher said, oh wow, that's awesome. Reference Damien and Tom's scenario. It certainly is. Looks like a crap scenario. I wouldn't play it, says Damien. Tried putting the email on chat but isn't showing. Maybe I can only do it, so I will whack it in now and then it's done, isn't it? So if I just put SBG. I keep forgetting that actually this is a top table stream and Damien can't do it, so it should pop up now. Tom Marshall nailed it in Morse code. Yeah, it was Tandoori Barry. What a lad. Oh, I miss Barry, man. He was a good guy. When I say he was a good guy, I think he's still with us. That sounded dead sinister, that minute. Looks like YouTube comments doesn't like email. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for the interest, Catherine. Drop us an email and we'll give you the details. Tom says, did you up to Damien? I'll hit you up too. Tried a few months back, but you weren't my friend. He'll forget who you are, Tom, anyway. He has a tendency to do that. Thanks for all the kind words. It's super cool to see the scenario make it into the book. It's awesome, mate. It is freaking awesome. Thanks, guys. I'll do that in a 3 second. In a 3 second. You have a website? No website. Just the email address. I mean, I suppose, yeah, just the email address. But Damien will chat about it a lot. So if you tune in to our Battle Streams in Middle Earth channel as well, because we'll have on another channel with Damien, which is Battle Streams in Middle Earth. We always talk about SBG magazine, and it will come up on there because like Damien's your main guy for SBG mag info. Agenda says removable top with dungeons underneath would be epic. I wish I had the space to build boards. Might have to buy a shed for the hobby. Do it, man. Do it. That was weird. Comment appeared before Steve said he'd do it. Yeah, because you're getting the chat live, but the stream, the footage and the audio, you're a little bit behind. Yeah, great work, Fred. Give yourself a pat on the back, mate. Okay, next scenario is Capture of the Grey Wizard. You can see here they've kind of recreated some of the scenes best they can using the models, and it's the face-off between Gandalf and the Necromancer. Having freed Thrain's mind and restored his wits to him, Gandalf continues to search for the evil that lurks within the depths of Dulgaldor. As Gandalf and Thrain venture further into the seemingly deserted fortress, they begin to sense that they are not alone within its crumbling walls, and that the evil within is far greater than Gandalf had ever anticipated. So as I said a second ago, we have a 3 foot wide by 2 foot long board. On the left hand side here, we have this is a bridge. Don't know how well it's going to show up on this blurry picture. You've got a bridge there, you've got some ruins, and then 12 inches on from the eastern board edge is good deployment, and then only 6 inches on from the same board edge is evil deployment. The participants are Gandalf the Grey and Thrain the Broken for the good side, and the evil side is the Necromancer of Dulgaldor, Azog, 6 Hunter Orcs on Fell Walls, and 12 Hunter Orcs flipping it. This is not looking good for the Grey Pilgrim. Starting positions. The good player deploys Gandalf and Thrain in base contact with each other, anywhere within 12 inch of the eastern board edge. The evil player then deploys Azog and 4 Hunter Orcs anywhere within 6 inch of the eastern board edge. The remaining evil models will become available as the game goes on. Objectives. Gandalf and Thrain must escape from Dulgaldor, though the powers within are trying to ensure that they are unable to leave the confines of the fortress. The game lasts until one player completes their objective. The good player wins if both Gandalf and Thrain escape the board via the western board edge, which will be the bridge. The evil player wins immediately if Gandalf is slain. In the event that Gandalf escapes the board but Thrain is slain, the game is a draw. Special rules. A flash of light. During the first turn of the game, all evil models are treated as being under the effect of the immobilize magic power. Okay. That gives the good a little bit of a head start, but you've got fell wargs chasing you, so it's not going to be that much of a head start. Bring the bridge crashing down is another special rule. During the move phase, if Gandalf is on the bridge, he may attempt to smite it. Roll a d6. On a 4+, Gandalf has blasted a section out from the bridge. Mark the bridge to show a 1 inch wide chasm spanning the bridge directly behind Gandalf's base. Models wishing to pass the chasm will need to pass a jump test. The General of Dulgaldor. If Azog moves off the board, then the evil player will instead bring the Necromancer into play on any 2d6 roll of a 7 up rather than a 12. Ah, so you can't have Azog and the Necromancer on the board at the same time. That's something, I suppose. The Legions of Dulgaldor. At the end of each evil move phase, the evil player rolls 2d6 and consults the chart below to see what reinforcements enter from at any point on the northern, southern, or eastern board edges via the rules for reinforcements. The only exception is the Necromancer, who, when he arrives, may be placed anywhere on the board at least 3 inches away from Gandalf or Thrain. The Necromancer may not move any further that turn after he's arrived. Should your roll in the chart cause you to exceed the number of models you have remaining to enter the board, instead treat the result as a 12. Once the Necromancer has entered the battlefield, do not make any further rolls on the chart. So a 2d6 reinforcement table is You roll a 2, no reinforcements this turn. 3 to 6, D3 Hunter Orcs. 7 to 9, 1 Hunter Orc on Fell Warg. 10 or 11, D3 Hunter Orcs on Fell Wargs. And 12 is the Necromancer of Dulgaldor. Designer note on this one says, winning this scenario is very hard for the good side, but not impossible. Gandalf can likely escape if he forsakes terrain, but that would be quite uncharacteristic of the Grey Wizard. Yeah, I think a lot of these, you're playing them in the mindset of the characters from the movies. You want them to be thematic, you want them to be cool, and yeah, they've said it's going to be very, very difficult for the good side, but it's not impossible. I mean, looking at it is very, very, very difficult. You've got 2 models on foot being chased by wargs, just holding you. Once they get hold of you and they're holding you up, you're not moving for a turn or 2. Like, it's just going to become very difficult. But cool nonetheless. I like the little bridge rules of, wrecking the bridge behind you, and they've got to make jump tests to get hold of you. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Damien says that's what Barry's had. The entire courtyard piece sat on top of the dungeon could be lifted. Yeah. That's what I want to do. That's probably where I got the idea and didn't realise. A flash of light, a crash of drums, a flash of light. My wizard's cloak flew out of sight. The colours faded into darkness. Oh no, it's Sauron. Michael Haskell says, occurred to me that the smaller board size for some of the scenarios mean they're easier for dining tables. Very true, very true. Very, very true. Okay, how many of these are? Let's see. We've got 2 more scenarios. 2 more scenarios to get through. 2 more. Make haste to Dulgaldor. With Gandalf having gone into Dulgaldor alone, Radagast has raced to seek assistance from Galadriel and the rest of the White Council in order to force the hand of whatever evil lies within. Wasting little time, Radagast delivers Gandalf's message to Galadriel, Elrond and Saruman at Rivendell, spurring them to move against the darkness within Dulgaldor. With this message delivered, and the White Council having agreed to go to Dulgaldor, Radagast returns to Roskabel to prepare to face the threat of the Necromancer. So we've got a 4 foot by 6 foot. This is a full size board. So this is a 4 foot wide, 6 foot tall, deep, wide, deep. Yeah. So it's a big board, loads of trees. It says the layout. The board represents the forest of Merkwood. It should be densely packed with trees, bushes, and other undergrowth. However, the gaps between these should be wide enough for the sleigh to manoeuvre through. 4 spider nests are then placed as shown on the map. So you've got 4 foot, 6 foot. Radagast starts on the far northern edge, and then from about 3 foot in, you've got 2 spiders' nests, and then from about 12 inch from the southern board edge, another 2 spiders' nests. The participants are Radagast on a sleigh, 6 Merkwood spiders, and 6 giant spiders. Starting positions, the good player deploys Radagast touching the centre of the northern board edge. The evil player then deploys 3 spider models within 3 inch of each of the spiders' nests. The objectives are Radagast must evade the spiders in order to reach Dulgaldor, though the bloated foul creatures seek to feast upon the wizard. The game lasts until one side completes their objective. The good side wins if Radagast can escape the board by the southern board edge. The evil player wins if Radagast is slain. Special rules, spider nest. Good models treat spiders' nests as difficult terrain. Additionally, whenever a spider is slain, blah, 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 blah. So on a 5 up, they come back on a nest, as mentioned in some of the other scenarios. And they may act as normal that turn. Yeah, so they can charge. They can come on in a nest and charge. And then another special rule is these are Roskabel rabbits. Whilst riding his sleigh, whenever Radagast charges into combat, the sleigh will inflict 2 strength 3 hits upon one model it has charged. If, after this charge, Radagast is unengaged and has movement remaining, he may complete his move in any way the good player wishes and may even charge again in evil. That is cool. That is cool. I think a lot of people were screaming out for rules for the sleigh to kind of emulate the chariot or chariots, and that is yeah, they get in this scenario they're getting what they want. Yeah, very cool. You've got to get off the southern board edge. Sleigh moves, am I right in thinking the sleigh moves 12 inches? So you got 6 foot, 6 turns, full move. It's going to be a cool little scenario. You're going to hit a few spiders in your way. If you just like mowing through the spiders, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Nice, I like that. I need to get my Radagast and sleigh painted up. I've had him for so long. He's up there. He's base coated. He's on one of Generation Shift's Radagast sleigh bases. But I've just, yeah, I primed him and put him there and just didn't touch him again. So I really need to do it because this would be a cool scenario to play. Really thematic. I like that a lot. We're on to the last one, but before I do, I'll just dive back in the chat quickly, and then we're going to get into the juicy stuff. Gandalf loves wrecking a bridge. He loves it, mate, loves it. He's just a grumpy old man, hindering progress. A builder made that bridge, spent time, tough day's work making these bridges, and Gandalf's going around smashing them up. Gandalf has a side job as a construction contractor, just making work for himself. Or maybe he's got a side business where he's got a bridge building business, and he's going around smashing them, so he gets the contract. It's a good job. It's a good job. Steve's real job doesn't rely on him knowing the difference between width and depth. Don't you start, Nathan. Don't you start. Right, we're on to the final scenario. Let me straighten this back up for you. I mean, we can see by the image what's coming. The fall of the Necromancer. Having ventured into the dark, ruined walls of Dulgaldor, Gandalf has uncovered the truth as to what dwells within. Lurking deep inside the seemingly abandoned fortress is none other than Sauron, the enemy of the free peoples of Middle-earth. Upon confronting this terrifying foe, Gandalf has been captured and is now at the mercy of the monstrous keeper of the dungeons, who relishes in the opportunity to torture and maim his captive. This is a 2x2 board. So this is, in my head, this is going to be the Courtyard of Dolgaldor. This is the scene from the movies, which is super cool, where Saruman turns into a ninja. We love this scene, and this is to emulate that scene from the movies, which is fantastic. Layout: the board represents one of the many courtyards within Dulgaldor. Broken rubble, partly fallen statues, and stairways should be scattered across the battlefield. Starting positions: the good player deploys Gandalf in the centre of the board. You see the dot here. The evil player then deploys the keeper of the dungeons within 3 inches of Gandalf. The good player then deploys Galadriel, touching any board edge. All the other models are kept to one side until later in the game. Objectives: the White Council is trying to save Gandalf from the clutches of the Necromancer, whilst also banishing Sauron from Dulgaldor. Sauron's mission is simple, namely to slay the White Council and thus remove the major threat to his rise to power. The good player wins immediately if Gandalf is rescued by having him move off any board edge and the Necromancer has been banished, whilst the evil player wins if they can slay any 3 members of the White Council. Any other result is a draw. The participants are Gandalf the Grey, Saruman the White, Radagast the Brown, Onsley, which is interesting, Galadriel, Lady of Light, and Elrond, Master of Rivendell. The evil force is the Necromancer and all 9 Nazgul of Dulgaldor, and the Keeper of the Dungeons. Necromancer and all 9, and the Keeper of the Dungeons. I think that's heavily... Is that just me, or is that heavily weighted towards evil, points-wise, in that match play? Special rules. A wizard lies dying. Gandalf starts the game with no might or will, no staff of power, and under the effects of the paralyzed magical power. Friendly models may carry Gandalf, in which case he counts as a heavy object. They're even worse off than I thought. I will destroy you. Galadriel can target the Keeper of Dungeons with the banish magical power as if it were a spirit model. 9 for mortal men doomed to die. As soon as the Keeper of the Dungeons is slain, place all 9 Nazgul of Dulgaldor on the board at least 6 inches away from any good model. Are you in need of assistance? The good player may choose to have Saruman and Elrond enter the board at the end of any good move phase after the first turn. In the turn that they arrive, Saruman and Elrond may use up to 2 magical powers. These may even be the same magical power twice if you prefer. That's good. Radagast to the rescue. The good player may choose to have Radagast arrive at the end of the good move phase after Saruman and Elrond have arrived. Gandalf may be loaded onto Radagast's sleigh, at which point he counts as a passenger. Sauron's return. At the end of the 9th game turn, the evil player places the Necromancer touching any board edge. So I kind of get it now. So they're never going to face the evil sides of the Necromancer, 9 Nazgul, and the Keeper. The good are never going to face them all on the board at the same time. It's just going to be the Keeper first, get rid of him, the 9 arrive, there's a fight going on with them, and then at the end of turn 9, the Necromancer arrives. So obviously the good want to banish as many of the race as they can before the Necromancer appears. Very cool. Going to be a lot of fun to play. Some nice rules in there. You know, casting twice the same spell, etc. is really, really cool. So I like that a lot. That's 13 scenarios, if I am not mistaken. And I think there were 4. Someone asked, was it Tom? I think there's 4 on 2x2 tiles. There was 1 on a 3-foot by 2-foot, and 1 on a 4-foot by 6-foot, and the rest of them were 4x4. So really, really interesting. Really, really cool scenarios. There's not one in there that I would say that feels like a bit of a filler. They were all scenes from the movies, stuff that's cool. None are too similar, and you get to use cool stuff. Yeah, really good scenarios. Happy with all of those. I think Michael asked which was my favourite, and you might call me biased. Let's Train the Broken. It's Damien's scenario. I really look forward to playing it. I just think it looks cool. I never got a chance to play that scenario when Damien and Tom were showcasing it. And I'm sure it was Desolation Stockport, that event, where it was. Whichever event it was, I didn't get a chance to play. And yeah, it's going to be nice now that I can build a board around it and play it. So looking forward to playing that. Okay, let's jump in the chat before we jump on here. Just told you, Michael. Just told you. Let us know what you're for out of all those, guys. Let us know which one you like the look of, which one you're looking forward to playing. Reese says the Radagast scenario would make a good video on the channel, mate. Yes, it would. It would. It would. And I've got all except Radagast on Slay Painted. I have got everything. So it won't be too bad. Gold, says Damien. Wow, that spelling mistake makes me think he might be one of your favourite models. Team at Tiberius, hey all. Evil has 1,000 points in the scenario, while Good has 850. Though Gandalf isn't his normal jovial self. Yeah, so he's even less than 850. But the fact then that the 1,000 points is split, and it doesn't all come on at once, probably evens it out a little bit. And they must have playtested that a lot to get to what they come up with. Tom says they all seem much better to play than watching the Hobbit trilogy. Steve missed a trick to say all scenarios except Damien's are great. No, they didn't say goal. Right, anyway, let's move on. No football. Follow the Necromancer campaign. This is obviously, if you want to play this as a campaign, again, I'm not going to spoil this for anyone. I'm not going to read this out word for word. But it basically, scenario bonuses after each scenario has been completed. And I know I'm reading it out word for word, but I'm not reading it all out word for word. After each scenario has been completed, note down which side won that scenario, either good or evil. This is important as depending on who was victorious, there may be a bonus or penalty to a certain side of the future scenario. So you play them in order, and depending how each one pans out, you've got the founding of Dulgaldor. It tells you what you need to do, etc., etc. Then you move on to the next one, and if you complete that scenario, you'll get a bonus for scenario 2. And if you're unsuccessful in said scenario previous to this one, you will get there'll be a negative towards. It'll make it be harder to do. Just add something else, makes it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun. And playing them in the order, it's just like, you know, going through the scenes from the film. So that's really cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, so it's things like, for instance, Thrain the Broken. In the Capture of the Grey Wizard scenario, Thrain may reroll failed courage test if Good won it. If Evil won it. In the Capture of the Grey Wizard scenario, Thrain suffers a -1 to his courage value when testing for his Shattered Spirit special rule. So you see what I mean? There's different pluses or minuses to how you do in the previous scenario. So yeah, it's just another cool way to play it. All these scenario books have the campaign version of the scenarios, and it's just really nice. We now get onto the armies. This is going through the armies that are all mentioned in the previous scenarios. It tells you what the army bonuses are. It tells you what the makeup, the composition is of each army. So, for example, the White Council, the army composition is Saruman the White, Galadriel Lady of Light, Elrond Master of Rivendell, Gandalf the Grey, Radagast the Brown, Glorfindel, Lord of the West, and Celeborn. Elrond, Master of Rivendell, Gandalf the Grey, and Radagast the Brown each count as a hero of valor when taken as part of the White Council army list. You've got additional rules. A White Council army may only include a single warband. So if you were playing White Council match play on deployment, they would all deploy together. It's not like a single drop, which would be probably a little bit OP, but or handy, not OP, but it would be handy. Having to place them all together, it keeps them all together. So a lot of the stuff that will synergize with them is good, but at the same time, they're all together. So you know, you're up against siege weapons, they're all getting whacked. A White Council army may only include a single warband. Unlike the usual model limit of a hero plus 12 warrior models, the White Council includes only hero models up to a maximum of 10. And then the army bonus is, are you in need of assistance? A member of the White Council from this army list adds +1 to the dice roll when attempting to resist magic, so long as there is another member of the White Council from this army within at least 6 inches. So yeah, you're going to be wanting to keep these guys together, and as long as they're within 6 inches of another member of the council, they get +1 to resist rolls, which is really, really good. On top of their already really good rules. It also tells you in these books, when you're looking at the army list, it tells you the strengths and weaknesses. I'm not going to ruin that for you. You're going to get the book, you're going to read that yourself. Key models gives you a little bit of background, maybe a few hints and tips on different characters, what they can do, how to use them, which is cool. And then Radagast Alliance is another army list, which is in this book. Army composition is Radagast the Brown, Bayonne, Gwaihir, and Grey Eagles. Gwaihir counts as a hero of valor if taken up part of Radagast Alliance army. The army bonus is the Eagles are coming. Eagle models from this army list gain a bonus of +1 to their strength value on a turn in which they are charged. Again, strengths and weaknesses, key models. This is a really small list, but cool nonetheless. Halls of Thranduil, great list, one of my favourites. Army composition can include Thranduil, King of the Woodland Realm, Legolas Greenleaf, Tariel, Palace Guard captains, Merkwood Ranger captains, Palace Guard, Merkwood Elves, Merkwood Cavalry, Merkwood Rangers, and Wood Elf Sentinels. Wood Elf Sentinels being in this list, I think, is awesome. I've not played this list whilst they've had that availability in there, but I'm looking forward to it. I've actually got 2 Merkwood Elves, which are partly chopped up, ready to convert to be Sentinels, so they suit the army aesthetic. I do have some of the old Sentinels, but I want them to look like the Merkwood Rangers. So I do have them over on my other desk, which I started converting them ages ago and just never finished. Another one of my projects that never finished. The army bonus for these is the Elves of Merkwood are not like their kin. They are less wise and more dangerous. Merkwood Rangers from this force do not count towards the army's bow limit. Additionally, whilst they're within 3 inches of Thranduil, Palace Guard captains, Merkwood captains, Palace Guard, Merkwood Cavalry, and Merkwood Elves will also gain a bonus of +1 to their wound rolls when making strikes. I can honestly say, as much as it sometimes is difficult to keep Thranduil in a position to get this rule, when you've got it, it's massive. +1 to wound is big. Your elves, so you know, as long as you're getting the dice in there in the fights, your fight value is going to carry you through, and having the +1 to wound is just, yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Again, same strengths, weaknesses, key models, bit of info there. Here's we got 2 more, and then we're on to the legendary legions, the juicy stuff. Dark Powers of Dulgaldor. Army composition is the Necromancer of Dulgaldor, Nazgul of Dulgaldor, the Keeper of the Dungeons, Castellans of Dulgaldor, Hunter Orc captains, Gundabad Orc captains, Hunter Orcs, Gundabad Orc warriors, Fell Wargs, and Merkwood Spiders. Additional rules: the Necromancer and all 9 Nazgul of Dulgaldor may be deployed as one warband if you wish, so long as the warband contains no other models. The army bonus is his spirit has lost none of its potency. Whenever the Necromancer of Dulgaldor attempts to cast a magical power, by expending 1 or more will points, he automatically adds an extra free will point to the casting test. It just makes him a powerhouse on this list, which is what he should be. Strengths and weaknesses and key models and info on how to play certain things. This is a list I've never played. I have the 9. The Forge World 9, and I have them painted, and I'm really happy with how I love them. They're up there on my shelf. Never ever used them. I just don't think it would be very confusing for me to use them. I will use them, not to their max capacity, because I'm not that kind of player. I forget things all the time and stuff like that. But it looks awesome. I've played against it. It's very difficult to play against. Very frustrating with the Nazgul of Dulgaldor when you kill them and they're coming back, I think, on a 2-up if they're near the Necromancer and things like that. It's crazy, but a lot of fun. A lot of fun. We then have the Dark Denizens of Merkwood. I'll get through this one and then I'll jump in the chat, guys. So please do keep your comments coming. The army composition for the Dark Denizens are the Spider Queen, Merkwood Spiders, Giant Spiders, Bat Swarms, and Fell Wargs. So it's that beastie army list that I was talking about that I would love to bring. Army bonus, Beast of Merkwood. So long as your army includes the Spider Queen, warbands composed entirely of warg models do not need a hero to lead them if they number 6 or more models. Warbands composed entirely of spider models do not need a hero to lead them if they number 2 or more models. Warbands composed of a mixture of models do not need a hero to lead them if they number 10 or more models. Instead, one warrior within the warband takes the role of the warband's captain for the purpose of deployment. So basically what this means is you can create warbands that don't have a hero to lead them, which means that you're not sinking points into a sort of captain style model or a named hero model, and you can just sort of just get an absolute rake of spiders, wargs, and whatever else in there, which will be a lot of fun. Again, you got the strengths and weaknesses. It's talking about the venom and the speed of a lot of the animals move more than normal infantry, like 10 inches, 8 inches, and things like that. We move on to legendary legions, but before I go into them, let's go in the chat, see what you guys are saying. Frederick says, well, that Thrain the Broken scenario would be a nice one for Halloween themed stream if anyone was doing one. Are there any channels doing that kind of stuff? Not that I'm aware of. Maybe with a whip thread, try to get people to paint their backlog. Good, yeah, it's a good idea. Someone should do that. Maybe doing a spooky SBG themed giveaway. Again, great idea. Damien says, Frederick, who would do that? Seems like madness. Thanks for the vote, dude. B-Sign bias at its best. You're welcome, man. Frederick says, I've heard that even the wisest do abandon reason for madness from time to time. Anders is in. How you doing, pal? He says, oh, White Council. Darn, no bard in the Radagast Alliance. I know, right? Glenn said, sorry, been quiet. Making a tiramisu to set for tomorrow. That's fine, man. That's fine. It's great to know that you're just listening anyway, mate. And I hope your tiramisu, I have no doubt, will come out bob on. Tom says, so are these actually army lists or legendary legions, or are GW trying to merge together? No, they're just the army lists. So basically what these books will do, they will go over the army lists that are involved in the scenarios. So all the participants for the scenarios, they'll go over those army lists in the book, kind of a refresher. They're not the full lists. They don't have all the profiles in. It's just kind of a refresher. Legendary legions are coming now, my friend. Been a really good read so far. I look forward to watching these scenarios played out. Me too, man. Tom says, that page flip answered me. There you go. Catherine wants some of your dessert, Glenn. Sort it out. Torborn, I hope I've said that right. Torborn says, I missed the normal armies. Any new profiles? No new profiles, my friend. And Frederick says to Tom, they've done this for both. Dullan was mentioned in Warhammer, even though they are a legion. It's just an overview of the faction and sometimes an updated army composition. Correct. Right, so Legendary Legions, this is the stuff that everyone is really excited about, and there's been a lot of chat about. You obviously get a couple of pages which explain what the Legendary Legions are, and in layman's terms, the Legendary Legions are lists within lists. So they are lists which let you field armies from a certain point or certain scene in the movies, and have special rules. So they'll be from certain scenes and things in the movies, so you won't have access to all the troops that you would normally have. For instance, like a Rohan list. You've got a Rohan list that's a massive list. You've got loads of things to choose from. But there are legendary legions within that list. Theoden Riders, Aemma's Riders, whatever they're all called something Riders. But they're limited lists from within that list. But because they're limited, you get extra bonuses that you wouldn't normally get in Rohan. That kind of thing. I hope I explained that well enough. And they're really cool. They're really cool, and they can be really powerful. Not overly powerful. I don't think we've come up against any that were overly powerful. Maybe one or two. Reigns of Athelium were, but then they got nerfed, and I think are in line with how they should be. So, yeah. So let's have a look at these and see where we are. So let's. Before I do, I'll catch up on the chat. Let's have a look. Jill says, been listening while watching the Titans Chiefs game. The scenarios sound really fun. Looking forward to watching other people play them. Laughy face. You'll have to get some games in, Jill. No new profiles, says Frederick. They had to make the supplement in a very short amount of time because of the schedule change. And Andrew says, hope you ain't a Chiefs fan. To Jill. Titans to my core, thankfully. I've had a great evening. Right, okay. Let's have a look at these legions. Remember, keep the questions coming in, people. Any questions that you've got about the lists that maybe I don't cover, I'm happy to answer with the information I've got in front of me. So we've got first the Rangers of Merkwood Legendary Legion. This is one that I didn't think I'd have that much interest in, but when cast an eye over it, it's pretty cool. And I think there's going to be a few things that pop up about it's OP, it's this, it's that, it's the other. But actually, when you look at it, I think it's all right. But we'll come to that in a minute. So, the army composition for this Legendary Legion is Legolas Greenleaf, Prince of Merkwood. Here's an option of an Elven Cloak for 5 points. Tariel with an Elf Bow, Merkwood Ranger Captain, Merkwood Ranger, and Wood Elf Sentinel. That is it. If you want this Legendary Legion, that is what you can choose from. Which is one of the reasons why I say, as much as the rule, which we'll come to in a minute, make this seem really powerful, I don't think it's as bad as you think it's going to be. So the additional rules for this Legendary Legion are: a Rangers of Merkwood force must contain either Legolas Greenleaf, Prince of Merkwood, or Tariel. One or the other. Or both. A Rangers of Merkwood force may have 100% of its models armed with bows. This is going to be the thing that I think people are going to hoo-ha about most. 100% bows. Strength 3 bows. And everyone in your force has got one. It is going to be good. It's going to be very good. Okay. Knife Mastery is one of the special rules. Friendly models may reroll 1s to wound when making strikes. Additionally, friendly models may use the shielding special rule even though they are not armed with a shield. However, if they elect to shield, they may not use the Knife Fighter special rule or Blade Mistral special rules. Right, okay, so there's kind of two things there. So they're getting Feint for free. So they get to when wounding, you're getting to reroll 1s. That to me is bigger than the 100% bows. You get to reroll 1s to wound. It's going to be big, especially if you are using the Knife Fighter special rule and you're rolling more dice. The more dice that you roll, the more likely you are to roll 1s, which means you're going to get rerolls. I think that's going to be a big rule in this force, and it's going to be one of the most prevalent, I think, over the 100% bows for me anyway. And the fact that they can shield, that's big as well. They are low defense. Merkwood Rangers are low defense. I think the defense is it defense 3 or 4. Merkwood Rangers, forget. I think they're defense 3. I want to say defense 3. But that's been one of the main problems. When they lose fights, they're dead, pretty much dead. It's unlikely they don't die. So being able to shield is super cool. And Legolas and Tariel can do that as well. So Legolas and Tariel have extra attacks. They get to double them to make sure if they're ever in a spot of trouble, they can shield instead, and they're rolling double dice with a high fight value just to sort of make sure that they survive whilst backup arrives or whatever. That's really good, really good. The next special rule is Prince of Merkwood. Legolas gains the Knife Fighter special rule when part of the Legendary Legion, so he gets the extra dice if he's outnumbered. Again, I mean, everyone said that he should have had it anyway. Tyrell had it, so he actually gets it in the Legendary Legion, which is really nice, and will come in very handy again. Let me have a look. Legolas Green, yeah. So he's not in this Legendary Legion. Doesn't have the option for. Oh no, does he get? Is it already in Thranduil's Hall? Is his armor already added to his profile? He's 95 points. 90. I think it is, isn't it? So it's all, yeah. So he's already got it. So his defense isn't that bad, but yeah, having that's pretty good. Having that's pretty good. So sort of to make sure that he wins the fights when he's outnumbered. People will think twice about trying to trap him. Is very good. The next special rule is Clear the Nests. Friendly models gain the Hatred Spider special rule. Very situational, but cool. Masters of the Forest. Whenever a friendly model is within 1 inch of a tree or within a piece of woodland terrain, it suffers a wound. Roll a d6. On the roll of a natural 6, that wound is ignored, exactly as if a point of fate had been spent. Again, it's situational because of the woodland terrain. There's going to be boards that you play on that are like village themed or sort of Mordor theme. There isn't going to be any woodland terrain. There isn't going to be any woods. But generally, you get a good mix of things like that on boards. So I think maybe 2/3 of the time there's going to be trees on the board. It's handy. It's going to be hard to sort of add that thought into your game unless there's an objective in there or something like that. It's cool. It's a cool rule. I like it. It kind of brings me back to the Lothlorien rule. I think Damien will back me up here on what we spoke about in a couple of episodes ago on Battle Strings of Middle Earth. I think that rule was in there for Lothlorien. Any battles in Lothlorien, they got to ignore rules on a 6, I think it was. And then Silent Ambush. This is a good one. This is a really good one. In scenarios where you roll for additional forces to arrive, such as those in the reinforcements roll, you receive a +1 to the dice roll for warbands from the Legendary Legion. In scenarios where you roll to see if you have which part of the board your warbands deploy in, you may modify the dice by +1 or -1. So yeah, it's kind of like the Goblin Mercenaries, that rule. Not Goblin Mercenaries, yeah, Goblin Mercenaries. Madril has it for his warbands. I think Lurtz gets it. Lurtz gets it, I think. But it's a cool rule because they are the ones that, especially these, you want to keep them together. Because if you split them up, they're all low defense. You do want them to be together, and you kind of want them to move in a unit. And yeah, having that and being able to choose where things come on a board in them scenarios where they can be split up is really, really handy. I did mention that it sounds like there's a lot in this Legendary Legion, and I think there's going to be a massive hoo-ha about this Legion, that it's broken and it's this and it's OP, and I really don't think it is, and I'll tell you why. If you wanted to play this Legion at 500 points, you are getting, if I remember correctly, I did do the math before and I wrote it down somewhere and I can't find it. I think you can get Legolas. Is it Legolas? 12 Rangers and a Sentinel. Is it? Maybe. I can't remember what it is. But I know that the only time you get up to like 30 bow shots is if you go above 600, I think. Because the Sentinel, you'd be daft not to bring a Sentinel in this. There's a reason that the Sentinel is in this. Sentinels are going to do a lot for you. Sentinels are just great. Being able to move enemy models around and things like that is going to be really, really good. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about it. What do you guys think in the chat about it? Do you think these are OP? Do you think they're not? I think the points that you're paying for your standard Merkwood Ranger stops it escalating to be OP and having too much. It's still going to be a strong list, don't get me wrong. But you know, you've got to start thinking about this when you're picking your own list that are Merkwood Rangers, and have it in mind that you could come up against this. Maybe you'll put Blinding Light in or something like that, or maybe you'll add the Trebane in just to stop that Boltfire just wiping you out. It's a cool list. I like it. I think we're going to see a lot of it. I think we're going to see Merkwood Rangers on boards a lot now, which is nice because we never used to. And they're beautiful models. So anything that gets new models on the table is good for me. Andrew's a Bears fan. He's a Bears fan. Nathan says, "Wait, this isn't B-Sign. Where's the chocolate chat?" That's TTG. But they have 100% bowls. Yes, they have 100% bowls. I thought Legendary Legions were a great idea. It can be a mixed bag with a few strong ones and some not. But the extra rules give you a chance to try combinations out and often bring something new to the game," says Michael. I agree, and I think you could be tempted to try stuff that you may not have normally tried. Not just lists, like units. So you might try a Legendary Legion that you've already got the models for, and there's a unit in the composition that maybe you didn't think was that great previously and you didn't bother with, but you'll add him into your Legendary Legion because he's got an extra special rule or something. You realize actually he's alright, and you know, it's I think on paper it looks really strong. I think it's gonna be one of them that look really, really strong on paper, but on the table they're still low defense. They're still low defense. If you get something in there, I think siege weapons are going to do him a lot of damage, for sure. Anything that can chew through them, anything that can strike, anything. Heroes with the high fight value. Yeah. they'll crumble quite quick, I think. Frederick says, Nathan, turncoat traitor game. I'd only start when you betray your fellow channel host because you're obsessed with creating new channels. Love it, mate. I love it. Can Legolas take a horse or Orcrist in that Legendary Legion, Steve? No, he's bare bones. That's another thing. He's bare bones. Lurtz gets to choose his role for deployment. Different rule. Michael Huffle says DCHL's most recent Unexpected podcast was about shooting in the game. An intriguing debate with lots of thoughtful comments added. Be interesting to see how this phase moves forward. I agree with the points. Cost for Rangers doesn't make it OP and a little nice buff for them. Yeah, look, I think Damien's mentioned this numerous times in streams and in different threads that when the profile for Merkwood Rangers come out, everyone was screaming at how good they are and they're going to be too good. And they're just going to be like the meta. And then it turns out actually they were a bit naff and nobody used them. So this again is going to be that thing where you think, oh my god, these look too powerful, this is craziness. But then in reality it just makes them a little bit more viable in game and brings them up to where they should be, maybe. Time will tell. Time will tell. I'm sure if they're too powerful, they'll get FAQ'd. Tom says, I may just be a sore loser after Steve's Rohan Legion kicked my Uruks bottom a few weeks ago. But he says, personally, I don't care much I don't care for Legendary Legions very much. Reminds me of EA's DLC controversy, but instead of playing for better stuff in game, you pay for the books that give you access to better fighting forces. I like it because what it does is it gives you a different way. Because you're saying like pay to play, but what it's doing is you rather than having to go out and buy a whole new army, you're buying a supplement that lets you use the models that you've already got in a different way as a different army. So that's that. I mean, everyone's got their opinion, and everyone will have difference of opinion. That's how I look at it. Michael says, Middle-earth teams surely must have had Rangers of Athelion in mind, so Rangers of Merkwood likely to be more balanced. Yeah, I agree. I agree. This kind of Legendary Legion is cool, says Nathan, has power but limitations beyond the standard army list. Yeah, you're very limited as to what you can bring with you. And also remember, you got Legolas and Tyrell who are going to be your generals. No big, powerful hero. No big, 3-attack, massive, just sort of troop chomper. It's kind of like a, what's the word? It's a finesse force, isn't it? It's kind of like a force that's, very elf-like. I think it's a great list. I think I'd be interested to see that played. I know Reese has got a lot of Merkwood Rangers. I've got a few there. I could probably put a force. I think I've got 2 warbands of Merkwood Rangers. I could probably put a force together, 600 points, something like that. I'll get my Sentinels done because I think the Sentinels will be the stars of this list. But yeah, so that's Merkwood Rangers. Again, keep the chat coming. Any thoughts on this Legion? Do you think it's OP? Are you happy with it? Get it in the chat. I'd be great to hear hear from you. But we'll move on to the next one. So the next one is a very interesting one, and there is a lot of rules to go along with it. And it's the Vanquishers of the Necromancer. Again, really nice. There's a lot of the Vanquishers of the Necromancer models. That blister has been announced today that it's going to be come back on sale and back into the range next weekend. So you'll be able to get your hands on the awesome Elrond, Saruman, and Galadriel as they are depicted at the battle in Dulgaldor, which you can see here, which is great. So the army composition for the Vanquishers is Saruman the White, Galadriel Lady of Light, Gandalf the Grey, Elrond Master of Rivendell with heavy armor, and Radagast the Brown. And Radagast the Brown has the option to bring the sleigh, which again I think is great. I think this, even with all these rules, which we'll come to in a minute, which are very, very cool, I think the fact that you can bring his sleigh just makes it a lot more better on the competitive side because it can just smash through things, and do a lot of damage, a lot of dice to kill things. Additional rules are the Vanquishers of the Necromancer must always include Galadriel, Lady of Light, and Saruman the White. Saruman the White is always the army's leader. A Vanquisher of the Necromancer force is always deployed as a single warband with Saruman as the warband's captain. Nothing too special there. Special rules. Now, the first one is, are you in need of assistance? Friendly models gain a bonus of +1 to resist tests if they are within 6 inches of another friendly model. Masters of Magic. Friendly models may still attempt to cast magical powers even if they are already engaged in combat. This is something that was teased and I think is really good. I'm not sure what would happen if, for example, Saruman, Gandalf, whoever is in combat and they Sorcerous Blast the unit they're in combat with. Do they get knocked down? Surely not. That's not been cleared up here. I think they'll have to clear that up in an FAQ soon. It makes sense for that not to be the case. That they're the ones casting it, they wouldn't be knocked down. But that would have to be cleared up. But the fact that you are able to have that, because that's the thing that when playing against casters, you want to get a priority and you want to charge them so it stops them casting. The fact that they can cast anyway, yeah, it makes it interesting for sure. Another special rule is meddle not in the affairs of wizards. The attacks characteristics of a wizard, of wizard models, should I say, in this legendary legion is always equal to the remaining wounds. So that is very cool. What that means is that your Gandalf the Grey has got 3 attacks to start with, and once he takes a wound, he goes down. He goes down to 2. Once he's down to 1 wound, he's down to 1. But obviously, as we'll come to later, you have a chance to get them wounds back up. But having 3 attacks is mega. That's mega. And this is to counterbalance the fact that it's a low model count, all hero low model count, and have being able to get into combats with more than one enemy and hold your own and have enough dice. Not just when you got that 1 dice, there's always that chance that you're just going to roll low with the 1 dice. You could be fighting a lowly orc. We've seen Gandalf kick orcs' asses in all the movies, and you roll a 1 or a 2, and it's just like, oh god. So this kind of negates that to an extent. It's still a dice game, so it still could happen, but it really, really helps. Next one is Lady of the Golden Wood. Galadriel may target any model with the banishment magical power as if they were a spirit model. Non-spirit models targeted by Galadriel's banishment gain a single free point of will to immediately resist the magical power. Additionally, friendly models within range of Galadriel gain the resistance to magic. That's pretty good. So you can cast banishment on any model, but if they're not a spirit model, it's like they automatically get 1 dice to try and resist it, which is super cool. That is really cool. Again, Galadriel is one of those models that I think I've used once, like many moons ago, but always wanted to use that profile more. The Lady Light profile is just awesome. That's really good. And the friendly models within 3 gain resistance to magic. So they get that. Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. So they get right. Yeah. It's a good rule. It's a good rule. 3 inches is not a lot, but I don't think you're going to split these up that much. So there's always going to be someone within range to get these like synergized rules. The Grey Wanderer. Gandalf gains the Fearless special rule. Furthermore, friendly models within 3 inches of Gandalf cannot have their courage value reduced by enemy magical powers or special rules. On first glance, that doesn't sound that great. I mean, he's fearless. That's good. I think it's this bit, like it's the courage value not being affected. So like Harbinger of Evil and things like that are not going to affect magic, like Sapwill. Not Sapwill. Drain Courage, should I say? Are not going to affect models within 3 inches of Gandalf. That's pretty good. It is pretty good. It is pretty good. Lord of Imladris is Elrond may declare a heroic strike every fight phase without spending might. That's awesome. Additionally, other models within 3 inches of Elrond count as being within range of a banner. So he's a banner and he gets a free heroic strike. So it's highly unlikely. I think he's already fights. Is he fight 7 Elrond? I think he's fight 7, right? So he's already a beast of a hero. But if he comes up against someone else, your Azogs or whatever, you can say, yeah, I'm just going to strike. I'm just going to make sure I've got that sort of extra bonus. If we do tie, I'm still going to kick your ass, which is, I like that a lot. The wisest of the Starries, the next special rule, Saruman can attempt to cast 2 magical powers each turn rather than 1, but may not attempt to cast the same magical power twice or target the same model twice. Additionally, when other friendly models within 3 inches of Saruman attempt to cast a magical power, they may re-roll a single d6 as part of the casting attempt. I mean, wow, that's crazy. So he can cast twice, which is good, but you're going to have to be careful of you will store, aren't you? Not get too cast happy. So he can cast twice. He can't cast the same magical power twice or the same target. Yeah, that makes sense. Other friendly models within 3 inches of Saruman attempt to cast a magical power, they may re-roll a single d6. So they kind of get Saruman's rule just for being in and around him, which is really handy. It's like having an extra dice. Well, it is having an extra dice in it. That's really powerful. Really powerful. Protector of the Greenwood. Once each turn, at any point in his move phase, Radagast may choose a single model in base contact with him and roll a d6. On a 4 or 5, the chosen model regains a wound lost earlier in the battle, and on a 6, the model regains all of its lost wounds. Additionally, friendly models within 3 inches of Radagast may move through difficult terrain without penalty. So if he's on his sleigh, he can literally just dart about, touching people, and it says at any point in his move. So he doesn't have to be in base contact with him in his move. He can go onto him, touch him, roll the dice, give him some life back, and then move on and do what you're doing with him. That's really good. On a 6, they regain them all. And then, like, you give him wounds back 50% of the time, aren't you? You've got a 50-50 chance of giving wounds back. And then hasn't he got... Can't he give wounds back anyway? Hasn't he got renew? Is it renew? So he could... He's like a medic, isn't he? So he could go up, touch someone, roll a 4, 5, or a 6, give them wounds back, and then cast renew as well on somebody else and give them wounds back. Is it renew? Is that the one? I always get confused with the things. That's awesome. Go back to the void from when you whence came is the next one. Once per game, Galadriel, if Galadriel has at least 1 will point remaining, she may choose to exert her full power instead of casting a magical power. If she does so, then she immediately casts the channeled version of banishment magical power, which cannot be resisted. Models may use fate to prevent these wounds individually as normal. However, immediately after casting the banishment magical power in this way, place Galadriel prone and reduce her will to 0. Additionally, the rest of the battle she does not benefit from her Lady of Lothlorien and war aspect special rules. So basically, to do this, it like takes all of her energy to do it, and she kind of becomes a bit null and void after that. But this is a great, it's a great one if it's like an end of game thing, sort of towards the end of the game, you know, and your opponent's general is, you know, because you've got a load of wizards here, you're going to be casting spells left, right, and center. They're out of will, you know, if they can't, they're out of fate or whatever. They can't resist it. If they're down to 1 fate, they've got no fate. You may as well use it. You may as well do it. Yeah. Was that the only time that you'd use it? It's the fact that she'd be a bit naff after it. Maybe if you come up against something that was mega scary, a monster and all. What's not got any fate? Dragon's got fate. Balrog's not got fate. Azog got 1 fate. But then she's a bit naff after it. But it's cool. It's cool. It's like a kamikaze thing. But I like that a lot. I think there'll be a lot spoke about this. I don't think this list, as cool as it is and and it is powerful, don't get me wrong, it's powerful. I don't think this list personally is going to win events, but what it will do is stop people from winning events, if that makes sense. So I think you'll get people who are going to events with the intention to win with a super powerful list. I think this is the kind of list that can be a spanner in the works for certain people, and they won't get from the scenario what they want to get from the scenario because of this. I think the issue with this is there's a lot of synergy involved, and I think if you start losing units early, it could crumble, but it shouldn't really. You've got a lot of fate rerolls, you've got a lot of buffs from each other, double casting, extra attack dice, free heroic strikes. There's a lot of might in there. This can do a lot of damage if it really wants to. You know, you got your command rules and like that. You could start dragging generals out and just taking them out of the game straight away. It's a cool list, a very cool list. Again, I don't think that's going to win any tournaments, but I think it could ruin people's tournaments easily. What do you guys think? Do chat, let me know. Team at Tiberius says, with two heroes with renewing that list, you can keep the 3 attacks up for a while. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A wizard who blasts into their own combat will absolutely be knocked down. And must take the strong free hit as per the normal rules of the spell. There's got to be some downside. Oh, damn it, don't be a sort of downer. I look forward to seeing Vanquishers on the table. I feel like it can be really solid in the good players' hands, but not broken. I don't think it's broken. I think it is exactly what it should be. They are. It's the White Council, for God's sake. The ability to cast magic when in combat is an absolute game changer. I agree. I think these guys are going to be really, really good, but sadly won't be much fun to play against. It's going to be one of them where they are controlling what's happening. They're going to control the game a lot. They're going to control what you can or can't do. Your big hitters, your big heroes are going to be pretty much sort of transfixed and moved around the board and been made to do things you don't want them to do or not be able to do anything. So yeah, I agree with you, but it's still cool, right? It is still cool. I wouldn't take it to an event, but I'd like to play it. It does make heroic channeling far less risky, correct? I'm not sure how you pronounce that one. We'll have a go. Is it Kemishawashnik? It's a shame that they gave 9 pretty good special rules for the White Council members who were quite good by themselves and didn't need that many buffs. I think the buffs are for, what does that equate to? What do all the, if you brought all of them, what does that equate to? Did someone say it was 850 before? I think it's to counterbalance the fact that, let's just say it is 850. I'm not going to add it up in my head now. If it is around that, if it's around 850, 900 points, whatever, you've got 5 models. If you're coming up against an 900 point army, you're going to be up against 40, 50 models at least. And I think it's to counterbalance that because you could just get bogged down otherwise. So that's why you're able to cast when you're in combat. That's why you're getting the extra dice to get out of those sticky situations. It's by no means a given that you're gonna be able to do a lot of damage if you do get overrun. But at least you can put up a fight, I think, anyway. He also says, while at the same time, overpriced Necromancer and Nazguls of Dulgaldor received only 3, which make them playable and maybe worth their cost at best. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Hi from North Dakota, says Timothy. Welcome, my friend. I hope you're well. Nathan says, I think I'd have preferred overall Legion bonuses to save, having to remember specifics, but boosts are always good. I'm like you. I struggle to remember when there's that much stuff, but I suppose that says more about me than the rules. T-Matt says, I think this list can be fun to play. It needs time to buff everyone out. 45 spirit on 35 models. Get the terror up on the wizards and wear down enemy heroes. Center line deployment and speed. I think it'll be fun to play. Harry Bates is in. He says, hey Steve, how are you, mate? A bit odd that the Vanquishers of the Necro aren't back in store yet. Next week, mate. Next week. And I'm well, buddy. Yeah, thank you. They will be available next week. Yes, confirmed. Is this Vanquishers list or just Elrond, Garlat, and the 3 wizards? This is the Vanquishers list, which I really like. I really like it. Again, I'd be very surprised if it was top table material, because I don't think it is. But there's a lot to think about, and being able to play this army with precision and have things where you want them, because they all do different things. They're gonna be difficult to play. They're not an auto win by any stretch. Okay, here we go. The Pits of Dulgaldor. Is this the Legendary Legion that everyone was asking for Azog? Does Azog need a Legendary Legion? Right, Azog. Army composition is Azog. He has the option of the White Warg. Keeper of the Dungeons, a Gundabad Orc Captain with a shield option. Hunter Orc Captain with the option of Fell Warg, a bow, or a two-handed pick. Thrain the Broken for 10 points. Gundabad Orc Warrior with the options Banner, Shield, and Spear. And then a Hunter Orc with the options Warhorn, Banner, Fell Warg, Orc Bow, two-handed pick, and Fell Wargs. Additional rules. A Pits of Dulgaldor force must include Azog, who is always the leader. Special rules: surprise attack once per game before priority is determined. So long as he is alive and on the battlefield, Azog can declare that he is using this ability. If he does so, do not roll for priority. Instead, Azog's controlling player will automatically win the priority roll. Additionally, enemy models may not declare heroic moves in the following move phase. That seems a better rule than any of the rules in the Vanquishers to me. Saying I've got priority and there's nothing you can do about it, even if you've got barrels and barrels of might, you can't even call a heroic move. How many times has that been? How many times have you had a game where you've said to your opponent, "Oh, whoever gets priority here has got this," and that guarantees it. I'm reading that right, yeah. So you can declare it once a game. Automatically, you don't even roll priority. Automatically gets it, and you can't call a heroic move to counter it. That's massive. That is massive. In the end game, when you know that all matters, and that's crazy. That is crazy. Really good. That is a really good rule. You get, yeah, and it's not even like a bubble. It's your whole army gets it. It's your whole army who's first. That's really good. Magical Void. Friendly models gain the resistance to magic special rule. Handy. Handy. You get a chance to resist magic. That's really handy. And Fury of the Pale Orc. Azog may declare a heroic combat each turn without spending might. I think this is more competitive than that. By a country mile. I think that is more competitive. A free heroic combat. He's already got, if he's on his White Walk, he's already got 6 might. You're getting the heroic combat for free. If he's charging 2-3 models a turn, heroic combating, winning, just killing up to I mean, he could easily kill 4 to 6 models a turn. That's crazy good. Really good. Really good. What do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? Please do let me know. There's 48 of you still watching. Let me know what you think of this one. I think that's really good. I mean, it's still bare bones Azog. No armor, I suppose. But you know, that's what you use your might for, right? To make sure you're winning them fights, because you don't have to use it for heroic combats, which is what you also want Azog to be doing. Being the absolute beast that he is, you want him to be heroic combating and just chomping through troops. And you can do that for free, and you've got all them 6 might just to make sure that you are winning the fights. It's a really good list. That I think this could be one that is a game changer for sure. I think you have to think a lot about what you're doing with this list. I think you're talking about the Vanquishers there, Reese. If so, yes, totally agree, 100%. Sean loves Azog. Is there any counter, says Timothy? Is that to the surprise attack? No. You basically get priority. If that's what you're asking me, is there any counter to that? No. You get priority and there's nothing that your opponent can do about it. Sean says, such a good Legendary Legion. Totally agree. That is an insane rule, really useful for a big hit. Yeah, that turn where you've lined everything up, and all you need. How many times have you done it where you've lined up a certain maneuver or a certain little thing that you're going to do to trap or you know, get someone in on your opponent's general, or you know, a key character or something like that, and all you need is priority, and then you flip and lose it, and then you go to the roll off and then you lose it, and you're like, oh, I've just spent a turn lining that up. Now you've got it. It's massive. That is massive. Anders says, well, guess buying an Azog. I think there'll be a lot of Azogs bought. 3 heroic combat is massive too. Totally agree. And Master of Battle. Yeah, I think so. It's normal scenario. What do you call it? He gets Master of Battle. No Master of Battle in this one. Is that no Master of Battle? Because don't you just go off the profile? Is it in the other profile? I'm not too sure. I'd have to look into that. To be fair, I don't flipping need it, does it? Return of the King Legendary is going to throw a wrench in Azog's day. Wound the warriors on 6s without the stone flail. Says T-Matt. Sean says, had a lot of fun with this earlier. I bet you did. Basketball says, sorry, had emergency, just come back. I'm glad you're still on. Yeah, we're just getting through the Legendary Legions. We are on our 3rd. We've just dug through the pits of Dulgaldor, which is a pretty grim Legendary Legion. But yeah, it looks cool. Looks super cool. Damien says, it's a great rule, but I think this one is well balanced as it's once per game. You still have a defense 5, 1 fate hero as your leader, who will be relatively easy to pincushion. Yeah, I get that, but I think that's the thing. I think you're right. They're balanced well. You know, that's what I'm saying about he's not got the armor, so he is susceptible to, if he loses a combat, being killed. But you've got the 6 might to make sure you don't, so he's going to be there for at least first few turns of the game, at least like first half. Not guaranteed, but you know what I mean. He's got 6 might. He can make sure he wins the combats. He can heroic combat anyway. And then when it gets to that point where he's like really low, he just makes sure he gets priority to either get out of a. He might be in a bit of a fix. He might think, oh no, next turn I've got 1 kind of wound left and no fate. If he gets in on me, I'm dead. You just use that and just shift him off and go around and start picking on some lighter targets. Master of Battle is the army bonus for Azog's Legion army list. Right, Sean, okay. Also, he's also 1 heroic strike away from death, cut the head off the snake, etc. No Master of Battle. That's brutal that Azog. That's brutal that Azog is strong enough. Michelle Pekela, thank you for subscribing. I still think that's really good. I think that's really good. I've come up against that Azog in just normal lists, and he's been a pain in my ass. I like that list. I think it's the fact that the composition's quite varied as well. You know, you can get Felwargs in there, Warg Riders in there, Gundabad's, Hunter Orcs. Get your Hunter Orcs in with multiple attacks. Train the Broken, 10 points. And it's really good. Really good. I like that one. I like them all. I think that's my favourite though. If I was talking like with a gamey head on, I think that's gonna be I think that's gonna be more prevalent at events than those two, for sure. I think, and I think the Rangers second and the Vanquishers last. But what do we think of this one? The Rise of the Necromancer. So army composition is obviously the Necromancer of Dolgaldor, the Nazgul of Dulgaldor, Keeper of the Dungeons, and Castellans of Dulgaldor. Additional rules: Rise of the Necromancer force must include the Necromancer of Dulgaldor, who is always the army's leader. A Rise of the Necromancer force is always deployed as a single warband with the Necromancer as the warband's captain. Special rules: his spirit has lost none of its potency. Whenever the Necromancer of Dulgaldor attempts to cast a magical power, by expending 1 or more will points, he automatically adds an extra free will point to the casting test. So he gets an extra dice to the roll for free. Good, very good. Power of the Necromancer. Friendly models gain the resistance to magic special rule. Additionally, the Necromancer can attempt to cast 2 magical powers each turn rather than 1. However, he may not attempt to cast the same magical power twice or target the same enemy. So he gets the 2 in a turn, the same as Saruman, which is it's really good. It's really good, and he's getting the extra. He's like getting extra dice to make sure they go off as well. Magical powers when you've got, I think when you've got a force that you don't have access to magical powers, and you're fighting against an army that has, they're the bane of your life. They're the things that you're just like, oh, fuck it, what's he gonna do here now? What's he gonna stop me doing here now? Yeah, it's really good that you can cast twice. It's really powerful. The Dark Lord returns. The Necromancer of Dulgaldor increases attacks to characteristic to 2 when part of this legion. So yeah, so he can hold his own in combat as well. It's good. It's good. It was. I mean, it was powerful anyway, right? That was always a powerful list. That was always a list that caused problems to your general player. I've played Necromancer and the Nazgul a few times, and it's been tough. It's been tough. You know, you think you kill one, it comes back. When they're with the Necromancer, it's a 2-up, if I'm not mistaken. You've got Castellans in there. You've got the option for the Morgul Blade, 40 points, 45 with the blade. So yeah, you get a few of them in there. 1 shot, 1 kill with Morgul Blade. They're pretty good. That's a good list as well. That's a good list. What do you guys think? I think for me, I'm going to go as in powerful. I'm going to go... Ooh. I'm going to go Rise of the Necromancer first. I think that's the list I'd least like to play against. I'm then going to go Pits of Dulgaldor. I'm then going to go Rangers, and then I'm going to go Vanquishers. That's my order of how good they are. What do you guys think? Sean says Master of Battles. Yeah, we've done that one. Nathan says good points. If he's going with the heroic combat, an opponent heroic strike is going to make him nervous. And Dan says anyone else hobbying along with practically soil himself when that. Sorry, man. I don't even know how to turn that down, but I'll try. Sean says, yeah, I did, Dan. That was loud. And Gaz. Tom says to Dan, I thought the curse of... David says, goal! Not even a hobbyist and still made a mess. Rise of the Necromancer is awesome looking. I've been waiting for a reason to pick it up. The 9 typos, and then as you can translate my... Yeah, I know what you mean. I know. Extra dice when casting a spell was already in DG army bonus. Still think it will struggle against Horde armies. Well, I think it's been spoken about before. I think Horde armies are the thing in this game, because you've just got so many numbers that your opponent needs to kill so many to break your, which is part of the VP structure to break your army. And especially in tournament play, you've got more models, so turns are taking longer and the games are timed. So you're playing against the clock. I think Horde armies are always going to be better than all hero type armies. I know that's not an all hero army, but it's not far off. Well, it is really, isn't it? It is. So yeah, I think Horde armies are the ones to beat anyway. But I still think it's cool. I still think it's really cool. I'd like to play any of them. I like what they've done there. I mean, the problem you've got is it's a fine line between being underpowered and then overpowered. And I would rather something was kind of like on the border of just being alright or being underpowered than being OP. And then everyone, you go to a tournament and 20 people have all got the same list and you're just like playing the same thing over and over again. Damien thinks Vanquishers is hands down the best. So much control in that list that you won't appreciate until it wrecks you. Yeah. They'll struggle in some objective scenarios, but definitely think they've got the tools to do it. I think objective scenarios are definitely going to be where they struggle, because objective scenarios is going to split them up as well. And I think once they split up and they stop getting them synergies where they're near each other to get the buffs, you could probably pick them apart a little bit. But yeah, I think it's great. I like all of them. I like all of them. Sound like a GW fanboy, but in this moment, I am being a GW fanboy. I think it's a great addition to the already great edition Legendary Legions that we've got. It will be interesting for that to be cleared up about the shooting into your own combat thing. If you go in rules as written in the rules book, yes, you're not down. Damien, I agree with you there. But I just think that might be a bit odd. That's just me though. Sean loves Azog's Legendary Legion. Although we've been nervous against Merkwood. Merkwood's gonna like just annihilate people before they even get into combat. It's gonna upset a lot of people. Let's have a carry on through, but please keep getting your comments in about the Legendary Legions, what your thoughts are on them. Is there anything that you're hoping to play? Is there anything that you really don't want to come up against? Interested to know. As we move on through the book, we're about 2/3 of the way through. We've got the Necromancer Painting Masterclass. So if you want your Necromancer to look beautiful like it does in this supplement, which it really, really does look nice, we'll explain in great detail how to do that every step of the way. And this is what's been missing, I think, from this game for a long time, this hobby. You know, stuff like this is what I used to always enjoy more than the kind of competitive builds and things like that. The hobby side of it is what I'm about. So you got the different step-by-steps. And if you do it, obviously you end up with a model that looks like it's been painted by heavy metal. Why wouldn't it? You've got step-by-step, you can't go wrong. Great little step-by-step guide. And then we've got the Ruins of Dulgaldor Painting Masterclass. So the new ruins are out. But this would be, you could use this on any stonework ruins. This masterclass, and it will make your ruins look great. I'm going to use this on my ruins. I'm going to use this. So it shows you again step by step. Get the texture on for the stone and the color, and then start picking out the detail with the metal. I don't know what they're called. What are they called? Like steel. What are they called? Just says wash the metallics. They're like pinned to the brickwork, but they look awesome. And all the little finer details. It's nice. Missed that. I've really liked that in the older books. And then here, which is nice, you can see different styles of build from the same kit. Which means, you know, you buy multiple kits, you can get them on your board, and they're just not all. It's not just like all the same, which is nice. It's a really nice kit, really nice looking kit. Sharp, cuts your fingers. It's a bit of a pig to put together, but looks fantastic. And then Forces of Good, Forces of Evil, beautifully painted models from GW that just make you want to go out and buy them, which is what it's supposed to do, right? But it's great. And that is the end. We've got a lovely picture of Galadriel after a Saturday night out in Stockport. And that is it. And that is the book from start to finish. I hope you enjoyed the read-through. I would happily, let me get off this screen for a minute. I will happily do read-throughs like this again. I'll get rid of that now. That was looking down at the book. I would happily do read-throughs like this again if you like them. I've enjoyed it. It's made me probably look more in depth at certain parts of the book than I would have done normally, so it's been nice for me for that. It's been great to be able to read through it properly, trying to digest it and speak to you guys about it and see what you guys think, and you guys pointing things out that maybe I didn't notice, or something I think is like auto awesome, you go, oh, well actually it's not that good because, you know, things that I didn't notice. So that's been really, really nice. But yeah, what do you want to see more stuff like this? I know we've got the Defense of the North book, which I reckon will be first quarter of next year. Something similar. I think that'll be a bit thicker, bigger book than this, I reckon, with profiles and cool stuff in it. But I'd love to do something like that again. Vanquishes his hands down. Oh, you've done that one. T-Matt says, I have a friend who runs Merkwood Rangers already. That's the list I don't want to face, and probably will. Yeah, definitely be trying out a Rangers list. I think a few people will. I think loads of people must have them models because when they came out they were so nice looking, and everyone thought they were going to be OP. I think a lot of people must have went out and bought them. I got a load of them. I don't think I've ever used them. I can't remember using them. I don't know why. I've got them painted up as well. Don't know why. Jill says, I like that they've started putting all this stuff about the hobby side back into the books. Yeah, I agree. It makes it much more welcoming. Totally agree. John says, thanks, Steve. Can't wait to get my hands on the book and go through those scenarios. I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. I hope I didn't spoil it. I tried to sort of leave out all the juicy bump stuff, you know, all the cool stuff that's in it. and just go over kind of the basics. But it's a great book. I think you'll enjoy it. Master Ball says, I remember copying a Balrog one when I was about 10 and loved it, and then come back to the hobby a few months ago. P.S. How do I become a Patreon? If you go in the description in the video below, mate, there should be a link. For anyone who's watching, if you want to support the channel, there is a Patreon link below. Please do click it, check it out, and it's all greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. If you can't find the link, if you drop me a message and I'll hook you up. Ruth says good night. Good night, Ruth. I hope you're well. I can't wait to see you guys soon. I really can't. Sean, you're coming in March, right? You both coming? We can catch up then. It'll be a lot of fun. And let me know what list you're bringing. Is it Azog? Is it Azog's Legendary Legion, Sean? Is that what you're going to be bringing? Thanks for the read through, Steve, says Nathan. I'm chuffed your reading lessons are. I know, yeah, it's the double syllables I struggle with, mate. Yes, we do, says Massive. I'd love to do more of these. I've had a great time. It's been great. I love the fact they're adding painting tutorials and hobby stuff into these books again. Yeah, totally. So that's it. Follow the Necromancer. I think this is a belter. Do you know what I could do? Here's one. If there's enough interest, because we've had a few of the books, and I've actually done book reviews, but pre-recorded them and just gone through page by page. I think this is a lot better. If there's interest, I could do a similar style live video going through Scar and the Shire. You know, I know there won't be as many people interested, but if there's enough, you know, if 10 of you want to see that and chat about it, I'm happy to do it. I really enjoyed that. I think it was a lot of fun. Tom says, thanks for the stream. Still not played a game yet, but understand the rules a little and love listening along while painting. Well, that's good stuff. And Tom, get some games in, mate. Promise you, you'll love it. You'll love it. And you will learn by playing. You will learn by playing. Whereabouts are you, Tom? Yeah, we're coming in March. Not sure on the list yet. I still undecided. You know you're going to bring Azog. Sean. I know it. You know it. Ruth knows it. Just admit it. Just admit it. Well, that's it. It's 20 past 10. I'm going to make a move, but thank you again, everyone who joined along, and a lot of you stuck through. I'm looking, I've got the stats up in front of the screen. A lot of you guys stuck around for the duration, which is fantastic. Thank you for joining me whilst I read it through. I have a lot of fun doing these, so thank you guys. And yeah, as Master Ball said, if anyone would like to support the channel, there is a Patreon link down below from as little as £1 a month. And then get different things going up. I am going to revise the Patreon as soon as I get a chance to get around to it, and do a lot of things. Saying that, there is another Patreon giveaway. I do have another voucher to give away soon, in probably, I'm trying to think now because it's busy, so I may do it the Monday or the Tuesday after Halloween weekend. I'll do another Top Table Live, and we'll do another Patreon giveaway. And do that. I've got some other stuff that I want to give away as well. But yeah, is anyone interested in seeing the Dulgaldor terrains put together and not painted? I'll show you before I go. There we go. Yeah. You want an idea of the size of it? That's next to my head. It's pretty cool, right? It's a great little kit. It's a great little kit. It's hard to put together though. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I lie to you, Damien will pin me up and he'll send me messages after calling me a liar. But yeah, it's hard to put together. They could have given you 6 of these. I'll give you one. But yeah, it looks great. It looks great, and I think it's going to tie in really nice with my wetter stuff. I can't wait to get that board built. That's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm going to make a move now then, people. I'm probably going to go and have a warm cup of tea because my tea's cold. And I've got some nice roast potatoes left from dinner and some gravy that I'll heat up, and I'll catch up with Lockie and Lockie's stream. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll jump back in the chat quickly before I go. Someone says thanks for done that one. Where are we? Oh, Jill says I'd like you to do the best of White Dwarf. I didn't manage to get it whilst it was in stock. I'll happily do it. I'll happily do it. Tom says in Newcastle doesn't know any SBG gamers. I'm sure there is, Tom. I know Ian Marley was round that way, and Ian's mate. He doesn't play that much anymore, Ian, but he's still active in the groups. Go on the top table group, and whack a post in there, and go on the Great British Hobbit League will probably be your best bet. And just ask who's around Newcastle. There will be, I guarantee there'll be people around, and local little clubs and stuff like that you can get a few games in. Masterbot, I'll be interested as a newbie. Awesome. Mike says, thanks, Steve. You're welcome. Night, Steve. Was a good wee stream. Thank you very much. Tom, I think there's an SBG folk in the northeast posting GBHL. Yep. Great looking kit. Cheers, Sean. Nice one, Steve. Love the live streams. Got me excited for the book. Yeah, make sure you get it, Reese. Night, Steve. And I presume I'll be dipping potatoes in the tea. I'll try not to. But yeah, thank you again, everyone. And I'm going to sign off. But it's been great. It's been an absolute pleasure. And it's been a lot of fun chatting to you. So I will see you all soon. If I don't see you before, I'll chat to some of you in the Facebook group, Top Table Gaming Community, or on the GBHL, or any of them. Make sure you tune in and check out the Battle Streams in Middle Earth YouTube channel as well, where I'm on there with Damien, who has been in the chat as the GBHL podcast. We have a at least fortnightly live stream, and then we have some other stuff on there as well, which is awesome, and it's just a great place to hang out. So I'll see you